Hello, Gelato Familia. We are back with another video. I'm George, the Disney Italiano. Today, got my very good friend with me, Mr. Theme Park Conductor. We're here to talk about a plethora of different topics today, or as Abby and I like to call it, hollow, hollow. That's exactly what it is in Tagalog. We're mixing it up. And there's a lot of stuff that's going to be going on between the realm of Disney and Universal. So we're here to cover it all. But before we get into our topics today, again, I want to introduce Mr. Theme Park Conductor for joining me today. How are you today, good sir?
I am doing well, and I cannot wait to talk about the festival holidays and so many other things we have listed to talk about. You know as well as I do, George, when me and you are on a video or a live stream, we can go forever. It's just the conversation just keeps on carrying.
It is
So
very true because we just recently did a cocktail convo at Disneyland, and we're just nonchalantly having our conversations. And after we were done recording, it was an hour and 23 minutes, and I'm like, did we really go that long? Like, I was not expecting that. But hey, you know what? When you're in good company and we're having great topics, time flies when you're having fun.
absolutely.
But if you want to let everyone know where they could find you on social media.
Absolutely. Well, like George said from Hollow Gelato, I'm Theme Park Conductor. You can find me on YouTube and Blue Sky at Theme Park Conductor. You can find me on Instagram at theme_park_conductor. You can also find me on X at Theme Conductor. You can find me on TikTok at Theme Park Conductor 1. And every Sunday at 5 or 7 p.m., you can find me on Conductor Sunday live stream on YouTube, talking everything from Universal to Disney to the Christmas season to George getting his festivity of holidays on with all the amazing foods he's going to try and review for his channel. We break it all down and we have a great time where we have amazing guests and we just go full ride. So come join us.
Absolutely. And actually, since you had brought it up, let's just rip the Band-Aid off now and let's talk about Festival of the Holidays. But I have to get something off my chest first
Uh-oh.
before we have our discussion of like our plan, because we were going to discuss like of our thought process going in, because we're both, as you said, we're both going to be there for opening day of Festival of the Holidays. But here is the little hiccup, folks. Conductor called me this morning and he was looking on his weather app, and it never rains in California. Never. Maybe like 2 months out of the year. And it's usually January and February. But no, Mother Nature had different ordeals in her plans and decided to make 100% rainfall through the whole entire weekend that's kicking off Festival of the Holidays. See, and this is where I get pissed off with Disney and even like a lot of these theme parks, that they even allow rain to happen. Like that's just like Disney should look the rain right in the eye and say no. Like
you're you're not wrong on that one. The mouse is pretty powerful, so why not?
yes. I mean, even if like again, it's Walt's like sacred sanctum. So it's like even if it rained everywhere in Santa Ana and Orange County, but like Disneyland just had like a bubble where it was like there was no rain.
That'd be awesome.
That would be great. But in all seriousness, it does give us a little hiccup of, our plans, but we're going to make the best of it. So far, it doesn't seem like they're going to cancel Festival of the Holidays. I think they hyped it up too much to having it as opening day, which is going to be November 14th. However, there were some other activities that were going on that day that unfortunately, due to the rain, they probably will delay, which is the reopening of the Storybook Land Canal boats and Casey Jr. But then also, right before recording, I just brought to conductor's attention that also the holiday story time with Deadpool over at DCA may also get delayed because it's in an outdoor venue area. So we were going to cover all that. And but you know what? We're definitely still going to keep our eyes and ears open because Disney may do some things where it can help, especially like with Deadpool. And they may not make a full on announcement. They may just do it on that day and say, hey, we're putting him over here and we have to be ready. Because everyone else is going to be flocking there too. So, but conductor, what say you on the weather curveball that Mother Nature thrown at us, and just in general your mindset at going in for Festival of the Holidays?
So, first of all, I cannot agree more with George. Of all freaking weekends, of all days to have rain in Southern California, especially in Anaheim and literally all of Southern California, because if you look at Los Angeles, you look at where I currently live at, George lives at, and then Disneyland, all of Southern California is going to be in rain for the next, it says 5 days.
Like,
So
like even right now as we speak, I'm looking out of the window and it looks like Eeyore over here. Like
it's
it's
not
like
good.
so dark and gloomy.
It's not good. You know what's funny? I actually looked out the window a couple minutes ago before we started, and I'm like, where's and there's a reference to King of the Hill. I don't know how many of your
Love that
viewers
show.
watch King of the Hill,
Love that
but
show.
I remember an episode where it was kind of dark and gloomy, and Peggy, the wife, Hank's wife, was out there wearing a Benjamin Franklin, wig, and she had a kite with her keys on it, and the wind blew the kite and the keys away, so she was locked out of the house. I was looking for Peggy out there. I don't see her yet, but I'm sure she's coming.
Maybe that's what I should do on Festival of the Holidays. What if I just came with like one of those like old gray wigs with a kite and like
Oh, Jesus.
just stand in the middle of the esplanade and just
Hey, you probably could. You know why? Because as far as I know, from rainstorms we've had in the past at the theme parks, usually they're dead. And what a great place to do it in the Esplanade, where all these abandoned ticket booths are about to be removed. So there's not going to be anyone in your way for that.
very true. What say you on that? Because that was actually a topic I was going to bring up to you. That they remove the ticket booths. Do you think it's obviously that they just reclosed on Earl of Sandwich? I mean,
Sure.
I'm sorry, like Earl of Sandwich, God bless it. Like that thing has been like reviving itself on and off again more than Christ. You know,
Yeah.
like it's been resurrected so many times. It's like I don't, but I mean, right now it is like officially shut down. They are removing the ticket booth. So, do you
Sure.
think that's more so for Portos? Do you think it's more for the Eastern Gateway, or a little bit of both?
I think for right now, it's a little bit for more Portos, at least on the downtown Disney side. When we look at the harbor side, I do know two of the booths are closed, but the other two, they are still open only for Dawes guests. So once we see those other two booths on the harbor side close officially and just not be used anymore, and then we start seeing construction walls in that area, I could tell you it'll be for the Eastern Gateway project with that, which that's a whole separate problem because it was announced 2.5 years ago for that project, and we still have not seen movement, so that pisses me off. And then obviously you got the security zone right there for bag check. That will close because the sky bridge is literally going to go right through that area. So once we start seeing walls on that side go up, then we know it's for the Eastern Gateway. But for the other side, for the downtown Disney side, I'm almost certain this is for Portos that's coming. And what I found very interesting, David, I think it was David from Fresh Baked or Theme Park IQ, I can't remember which one. They actually reported, because when you look at the temporary Earl sandwich that took over La Brea Bakery, you kind of had two restaurants. You had the Tavern, which was more of a sit down restaurant. Then you also had Earl Sandwich, which was a quick service location. It was interesting because the Tavern restaurant actually closed the day it was either a day or 2 days before Earl's Sandwich actually closed, because Earl's Sandwich was still open for a day or two after the tavern side where you could sit down and eat closed. So I found that interesting. So I do think it is for Portos. I don't know when they're going to start construction. Maybe we might see construction happen in December, but there are some high doubts because of the holiday crowds. They don't want to have construction walls everywhere, and they especially don't want to have pinch points all over the place in that area. So maybe we could see them demoing those ticket booths probably in early January. Unless Disney wants to pull a Universal, I'm just going to call it how I see it. Unless Disney wants to pull a Universal out of their hat and just start demo immediately, which would be awesome, but that's just not Disney.
I wish that they would. Like, I wish that, like, I mean, they don't have to go full on like Universal, because that's just Universal's niche of how like they do things. But I mean, it's very weird to say. Like, Demaro did keep his word, to his credit. Like, they are doing like a lot of the projects, but majority of like the projects are in Walt Disney World.
Yeah.
When it comes to the projects out here in Disneyland, it's like they're saying things are in motion, but we're not seeing it. And when we do see it, it's like months and months down the road from when it was first announced. It's like it should not take this long.
No.
If Universal can do it out here in California, why can't Disneyland do it in California? I don't.
Well, see, that's a perfect example. And you know, one thing I look at when you mention that Walt Disney World versus Disney, we would, you know, the Walt Disney Company has already established Walt Disney World as a tourist destination. So obviously when projects were announced at D23 when you went last year, obviously Walt Disney World is going to take priority no matter what, because it's the cash cow of the company. It's one of the main cash cows. So they rather ramp up construction out there. Not saying Disneyland is going to be left behind, but it's going to take longer for Disneyland to do. But you're absolutely right. Look at, you know, Universal Hollywood. If you go there tomorrow, because it's not raining tomorrow, thank God, cross your fingers. You know, you got you got this Fast and Furious intimate roller coaster that they built on the side of a hill, when literally you got what, 200 yards away, you got sound stages that Hollywood movies are producing and filming, and not just you know, TV shows, commercials, other companies like Disney's coming in, Paramount, Warner Brothers, they all rent out the lower lot at some point to film, you know, their content, their movies, their shows. And you make an excellent point. If Universal Hollywood can do it with a movie lot down below, and then you look at all the security hubs they're building, which is 3 of them, then you got all the new things coming to Universal City Walk, which go check out my Universal page, and also go check out Hollow Gelato on YouTube, because we both captured content of, I kid you not, this thing was amazing when I saw it the other morning, was this big giant LED board for Raising Cane's. And it's so funny because when I posted on Instagram, one of the comments I got, yeah, this reminds me of Vegas. I'm like, Vegas? No, this reminds me of Times Square. That's where you see all these big video boards for, you know, all the restaurants, the stores and whatnot. But to, you know, George's point, hey, if Universal Hollywood could do it with a movie lot, why can't Disneyland do it out here in California? What is stopping them from doing it when they already got approval from the Anaheim City Council? There's nothing stopping them from doing this. And a lot of these projects, like the Eastern Gateway project, the Coco dark ride based off the Shanghai Pirates that's coming next to the Incredicoaster. You got, well, it's already happening with the 2 Avengers attractions. You know, these are projects that are behind backstage areas or not guest areas. So why is it taking so long? I have zero idea. And this kind of ties back into my thought process for Festival of Holidays. Because as we've seen over the years, and shout out to Theme Park Obsession, he posted something on X about a week ago. I think it was back in 2017. We had 12 booths for the
Mhm.
Festival of Holidays, and now this year we're down to 6 booths, which is a big downgrade. Now they justify it by using some of the restaurants that are already in DCA to kind of accommodate some of the food items for Festival of Holidays, but I don't know if I really consider that. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, well, and not only just reducing down the booths, but now they removed the the different like levels of the food passes that you can get.
Yeah,
Like, they don't have the 4 one anymore. It's just the 6.
yeah,
Which now for us, it doesn't really affect us because we're covering a lot of the food, so we're probably going to get the 6 anyway. But for the people
right.
that maybe just want to sample just a couple of things, it's like they don't have the lower one anymore. It's just the
No,
one. I mean, if they wanted to make 6 the lower one, but maybe they could have done like
8.
a higher one, like yeah. Or how about for us high tier Inspire Magic
Mm,
Keyhole?
I like how you're thinking.
What if they gave us, if you buy a 6, but for if you're an Inspire, you get 2 free.
I
Like,
love
so
that.
it becomes, so 6 becomes 8.
I love that. Will they ever do it?
No,
Nope,
they will never do that.
because they're never generous like that. And that's why I said on another YouTuber's channel the other day, because I was part of their channel. Um, I said, when you look at Universal and then you look at Disney, you got Disney Magic Keys holders in one hand, and you got Universal annual pass holders in another. I kind of feel that Universal has the upper hand and Disney has the lower hand because, you know, I have both passes. So me and George have the Inspire. I have the Platinum to Universal Hollywood. And I can tell you, between the after dark events, which we're going to get into because they Universal just dropped the 2026 list. We will talk about that, but all the benefits you get as an annual pass holder at Universal. One of the biggest benefits, HHN, you get a free ticket if you're a platinum pass holder. Do you get a free ticket paying $1,900 for an Inspire key for one night at Oogie Boogie? No, you do not. Then you look at the After Dark events, and I don't want to get George riled up because he can go on the tangent, but one of the events he went to, there was a specialty character that
Oh,
he wanted to see, and the direction that the cast members, or the information the cast members had, was so misleading. He missed the opportunity. So again, and it doesn't even go on from there. It's so bad that they bring back past either meet and greets or little cheap facades you could take a photo op in, or even for Oogie Boogie, it's always the same thing. And it kind of ticks me off because I would love to go back to Oogie Boogie, but I did a one and done situation and I refused to go back because, one, paying the money, two, trying to buy a ticket's almost impossible. And three, it's always the same thing. Now, if it changed up, hey, I'd be the first one in line to buy a ticket, but they won't change stuff up. Meanwhile, you got Universal. HHN changes every single year. They might bring back some past properties, but they customize it where it's not, you know, dollar by dollar, replay. And then also the just the merch, the ideas they have for the event. Then you got Fan Fest nights, which is a new event. Now it's coming back this for its second year, which is just absolutely mind blowing. That kind of just puts another nail in Disney's coffin when it comes to the After Dark events, and they know how to take care of their pass holders.
Yeah, so this is what I have to say, like, of everything, like, just to kind of like sum up of what you were saying. When it comes to Oogie Boogie, now I still enjoy Oogie Boogie. I've gone every single year since it started, and also this year was Abby's very first time going to Oogie
Oh,
Boogie, so
nice.
it was a real treat, no pun intended,
Sure.
to actually see like her experience, like everything. But I'm very curious that if they still have Oogie Boogie next year, because like with all the construction and everything, if they don't make any significant change, Abby and I are going to still do it anyway. But I'm curious to see her thought process, if it is worth it to her, because it'll be her second time around. When you go the first time, you're going to be like, okay, this is great. This is cool because it's something new.
Yeah.
For the price of what Oogie Boogie is, I'm very curious to see how Abby takes to it if they make no significant change. Because really, this year was, I think, the worst year that they made absolutely no change. The only changes that they did was they brought back a character that they had before, which was Maleficent, which I don't even know why they removed her in the first place. She's the mistress of all evil. Like,
Yeah.
you don't remove Maleficent from a Halloween event.
No.
Number two, they removed Sid from Pixar Pier and they put in Syndrome. Sid, I think, was one of the best interactive characters that they had at Oogie Boogie. Like,
Yeah.
he would tear people apart. He would rip on their costumes. He would, and the performers that they got were like spot on
Sure.
to get these performers to literally look like Sid. And then they replace him with a character, which I think Syndrome is cool as a character, but the way that they have him, it looks like a costume that was bought from Spirit Halloween.
Oh,
Which
geez.
doesn't literally look like as if he would be the character.
Wow.
And there was really no other changes to Oogie Boogie, but the prices stay the same or the prices go up. So a lot of people say, oh, I wouldn't want to see Halloween come back to Disneyland. I like it at DCA. I do too. I do like Oogie Boogie for what they have it. But right now, it seems like it's a little bit stale because they're doing no new ideas. I think it would be very refreshing while they're doing construction over at DCA to move Halloween back over for a limited time at
Sure.
Disneyland. I think people would go gaga for it.
Oh, yeah.
Because again, it's a different setting. It hasn't been over there in a long time. Plus, when it's all said and done and the construction is done and they bring Oogie Boogie back to DCA, the demand for it will be much higher because they would then have Disneyland hosting Halloween for a few years. And it's like, oh, Oogie Boogie's returning. That's how you switch it up, and that's how you can have a higher demand. But again, going back to the Magic Keys, this is what I would do. If you're going to raise the prices for the Magic Key passes, and you're going to absolutely have nothing new open, no Avengers yet, no Coco, no Avatar, okay, fine. How can we still make it worthwhile that we can raise the prices, but people won't complain about it?
Sure.
As you had mentioned, one free ticket per Magic Key to Oogie Boogie.
Yeah.
I would then also do for Lunar New Year, Festival of the Holidays, and Food and Wine, you're allotted one free 6 meal pass per Magic Key. So then you would have, and then if you wanted more, then you could buy more. But you get one free for Lunar New Year, one free for Food and Wine, and one free for Festival of the Holidays. And then also too, I would add in the fact of maybe doing like anything else of like an event that's going on, like how they did 90s night and Disney Channel night and Sweethearts night and even Star Wars night. Maybe you're allotted one per pass to pick for free to get in for one of those events, not all of them.
Yeah.
But choose, like to say, oh, I'll take Sweethearts night, or I'll take Star Wars, or
Sure.
I'll take, whatever that they do. That would justify raising the price to almost $2,000.
Absolutely. So this is my idea of the Magic Keys. And again, we're just spitballing here, but my idea for all all the festivals at DCA, this is how I would look at it. So, you know, you have the Enchant Key, which is the second from the bottom. Then you have the Believe, and then you
Mhm.
have the Inspire, which me and George have. Okay, this is how I would do it. I would say, because as much as I would like a free pass, a 6-tab free pass for each event, again, that's something Disney could do. Would they ever do it? Probably not, because they're greedy like that. I'm just being honest. I know a lot of people would hate me for that comment, but it's kind of true. One thing I would like to see is, so like for example, the Enchant Key, right? You get a
Mhm.
free tab. So instead of 6, you buy the pass. Instead of having 6, you have 7. Then if you have the Believe, you have 2 free tabs. So you would have 8. Then if
Mhm.
you have the Inspire, you have either 3 or 4. So you would have either 9 or 10 tabs. That's how I would look at it, and that's something I could see Disney doing. Again, it's like Tomorrow did several years ago at D23. It's a blue sky idea, which probably will never come to light because again, they don't like doing stuff like that, which is kind of sad. But again, if Tomorrow becomes the CEO, he has an opportunity to really win fans over by doing small little things like that for people that are basically putting themselves in debt and in hawk to own these Magic Keys as they keep going up in price every single year. Now, one thing I want to say about the Festival of Holidays, since it's the title of this video, is looking at all the food options we have for the Festival of Holidays. I could tell you literally right now, at least half of them are either returning or they're from other events like Lunar New Year, like Food and Wine, and just literally customize very little to justify. There's
Mhm.
not a lot of new items that are coming to this year's event. There's a lot of returning or a lot of food items that have been at other festival events at DCA, which is also kind of disappointing in my
Yeah.
personal opinion. Now, I don't know from last year, maybe George, you can remind me. The sip and savory passes are they the same price as they were last year, or did they go up $10?
That's a good question. I thought it went up.
So it did go up.
I think if memory serves me correctly, I thought it went up a little bit.
Well, see, again, that's just an issue I have on my standpoint. It's like, why why increase the sip and savory passes even more and then offer less new items and a lot of returning items, especially items that are at, again, other festivals like Lunar New Year, like um, Food and Wine, like one booth, and I think it's right in front of Little Mermaid. That's one of the booths. That booth literally has 3 or 4 mac and cheese dishes.
Yeah, I remember last year they like had it was like mac and cheese with brisket and mac and cheese with vegetables and mac and cheese with chicken and it was like no matter what. I mean, here's the thing, I love mac and cheese. I'm a mac and
So,
cheese kind of guy, but
yeah,
like I don't need 10 different dishes of mac and cheese. Like
no, I don't either. And again, it's kind of disappointing to me that they got rid of a lot of the booths. Maybe they justify it by, oh, well, DCA is about to go under construction. Well, that's fine if you want to take that angle. But my only problem with that is, are you starting construction tomorrow? Are you throwing up all these walls that are going to be necessary for this construction? Or are you going to wait until January or February? And if so, that's fine. But why are you getting rid of more booths? In the meantime, why are you doing that? That makes zero sense to me why they're doing that.
Yeah, because where they're having the booths, to my knowledge, I don't think it would really have any disruption even if they are doing any construction.
No, no,
Maybe depending on like if there's a few booths that are over at Hollywoodland, but
sure.
again, depending on how, as you had mentioned, are they starting any construction in Hollywoodland? Because it doesn't seem like they are. But
No.
here's the funny thing with that too, and to Bricky's credit, because he mentioned it on one of his shows, which I never really thought about it until he mentioned it, that the reason why they could be closing Monsters Inc. Mike and Sully to the Rescue early is that until they start touching Hollywoodland to remove stuff, they could start moving backstage stuff for that's behind the Incredicoaster, so they could start on Coco. So if they move the stuff over to Monsters Inc., they'll start the construction because, as far as I know, they said that they're going to start at late 2025, but they may not have to touch that back area till later on in early 2026, which I think that's around the time that they're going to close Mike and Sully to the Rescue. So I can see that happening. And then once Coco is done, that they have a permanent spot for the parade floats or what have you, move that out of Monsters Inc., and then they can do whatever they want with Hollywoodland.
Well, see, this is another thing I wanted to ask you, because literally, right where they want to put Coco, and then you got the Paradise Gardens, and you got that big wooden gate that says Pixar Pier on it. That literally we're gonna use the walk-in to go into the Coco attraction. Is literally right across the way. You got the Simba parking lot. So this is where, again, Disney can be very smart here, and they can actually fence off a decent chunk, seriously, a decent chunk of that parking lot, and build a structure there that obviously will be torn out eventually when they start that expansion pad for whatever they're going to build in there. But for the meantime, because we're talking for that area, we're talking at least past the Olympics. There's no way in hell they're touching that before 28. There's just zero.
The Simba lot.
Yeah, there's zero chance of that happening.
Now,
Zero.
here's the thing: if that was the case, if they were going to do something with it, prior to the Olympics or what have you, if they wanted to incorporate Coco, here's how I would have got creative with Coco.
Oh, sure.
And very ambitious, but this is how I'm used to Disney doing things on a much bigger scope.
Sure.
Where you look to see where the entrance of Coco was going to go, it's right next to where you see partial of the Incredicoaster, and then you see Boardwalk Pizza and Pasta. I would turn the Boardwalk Pizza and Pasta into the Mexican little village area and eatery.
Yeah.
That way you have it in the real world. They would then have to build a bridge anyway to get over from where DCA resides now over to the Simba parking lot. What if that bridge was already through the gate of the entranceway of Coco, but the bridge would be the bridge that divides the real world to the dead world?
Interesting. I like that.
And they can have where it's very like creative, where it's like you see like those leaves like on the ground, but they're really not there. It's just like they have it like a digital kind of thing. Disney can do stuff like that. They have all the R&D. So then you would cross over that bridge, and then there would be, the starting queue for Coco, the actual attraction.
Yeah.
Then it would work because then it would be adjacent to Pixar Place Hotel. So then you would have a Pixar themed attraction, and people who are staying at the hotel, they look out their window and they're like, oh, there's the Coco attraction. See, that's what I would have utilized rather than shove Coco behind the Incredicoaster, because they're saying, oh, well, it's the pier. We don't really have to go full-fledged creative with it. It's like, but when Demaro stands up on stage in front of almost 20,000 diehard Disney fans, and you're going to compare this ride to Pirates of the Caribbean and the Haunted Mansion, And then it's like, okay, well, that's putting the stakes a little bit.
Yeah.
There have been some kind of controversy to what Bob Iger had mentioned recently about Pirates of the Caribbean,
Yeah.
which you can understand, there may have been some things he was taken out of context and everything. But also too that when you're still CEO of a company and you're going to ride a ride, even if you give it all the praise in the world, but
Sure.
then you're going to come back and say, well, the story really isn't that strong, but the ride itself is great. You got to be careful how you put things
Yeah.
because you're then praising it, but then you're knocking it. And then if you're going to have tomorrow get up on stage and say, oh, well, Coco is going to be just as relevant as Pirates, but then you have the CEO saying, oh, well, the storyline isn't that strong. Well, what is that going to say about the Coco ride? Like they're kind of throwing off these mixed messages. Is it going to be great or is it going to be mediocre?
Exactly. And see that's part of the problem I have with Iger is, again, now looking back from where we are right now, you know, I'll admit Chapek was not the best CEO, but a lot of decision making, he was the person in front of the cameras, but he wasn't the person calling the shots. It was Iger behind the scenes playing the puppet master. And instead of him getting blamed, no, we're going to blame Bob Chapek because he's in front of all the cameras. He's the one. His face is the face of the Walt Disney Company. It's not Iger. It's him. So I kind of feel like
And in a way, that's why he
Iger's.
never really left. I feel like that's why he was just kind of like behind the scenes. But it's like if someone was to take the heat, that's why he had Chapek there.
Well, that's what I mean. And with this new thing that's happening with, again, here we go again with Bob Iger retiring again for now the second time now.
Mhm.
If Demaro becomes the new CEO, which again, we all kid around here on Hollow Gelato and other channels calling him Daddy Josh and all this stuff. But even myself, theme park conductor, wishes him the absolute best if he
Oh, I
does.
do too. If he becomes CEO, I want him to succeed.
Oh,
I want him to do the company justice because here's the thing: if he fails, then the company fails,
yeah,
and then essentially us as the consumer and shareholders fail.
exactly.
So it's like it's a well-oiled machine. So yeah, if he becomes CEO, I want him to knock it out of the ballpark. So
Oh,
that will give me another excuse to chase him down Main Street again for another selfie.
hey, there you go. No, and that's
This
perfect.
time, but that time I could say, I'm not chasing him down Main Street to get a selfie with chairman of parks. I'm chasing him down Main Street to get a selfie with the new CEO of the Walt Disney Company.
Exactly on my point. And that's awesome. And I really hope he does get it. My concern with that is Bob Iger, even though he's not going to be front and center anymore, he's still going to be on the board of the Walt Disney Company for another 2 years as the transition happens between him and the new CEO, whether it's Demaro or Dana Walden, which it's probably going to be Demaro at this point.
Yeah.
But how much authority is Iger really going to have, even though he's not in front? He's not, in front of the cameras for the company. How much decision making is he going to actually have? How much influence is he really going to have over Demaro, who will probably be the next CEO? And I really hope the board really takes a hard stance at this and look at what Iger did to Chapek and say, you know what, Iger, hey, you want to be on the board, that's fine, but you calling the shots behind the scenes, that's over. We're not having another Chapek situation all over again.
Well,
We're not doing it.
do you remember how much power and control Iger had when he was CEO and also had a seat on the board?
Yes.
I was not a fan of that. I'm sorry. Like, if you're CEO, you should not also have a seat on the board.
No, absolutely not. Now, I do agree with if he was if he is the CEO or anybody and you want to be present at the board and you want to kind of see what the board's up to, hey, be my guest. But to have influence over the board, I 100% agree with you. That should not happen because basically you can tell me right now that you can and I'm not saying this would ever happen. This is just a stupid joke I'm making, but as a CEO, you could tell the Imagineers, yeah, you know how Walt Disney's original Magic Kingdom castle, Cinderella Castle, is the color now. I want to paint it purple, and he would get away with it because he's in charge of the company as the CEO, and he's in charge of the board, and what he says goes. And
I mean,
I'm not saying it would ever happen. I'm just saying
and
that's the
Disney
type of
don't
authority.
ever do that. Disney don't ever do that. But
Yeah.
but to your point, it is really true though,
Yeah.
because they can do something outlandish like that
Yeah.
and get away with it. And what they can call is, oh, it's pixie purple. That's what they'll market the hell out of it so they can have an excuse to say, oh, this is relevant to do, where it can look god awful, but it's like, oh, it's the magic of pixie purple, and we're going to have shimmering violet crystals going through Cinderella Castle. It's like, I don't want that shit.
No,
Like,
well, wait, we all saw what happened with the 25th anniversary of the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, of course, the giant Pepto-Bismol bottle. Now, I will say, here's the thing with that. I'm a little bit biased to that. I'm kind of like torn with that because it is, looking back at it, it was significant that when I think of the 25th anniversary of Walt Disney World and the Magic Kingdom, I think of that gigantic pink birthday cake of the castle. Now, here's where I disagreed with Disney with it. I don't think that they should have had that long. No. It should not have lasted that long. Maybe, I wouldn't even say like a whole year. Maybe have like a limited engagement, maybe of 3 to 4 months, you know, maybe like just to kind of signify, hey, this is the birthday and everything. But to go like over the amount of time, because there were people that complained that they were having a wedding at Walt Disney World. And at the wedding pavilion, if you have it in the signature room, where the Imagineers built it, the big bay window behind the altar faces, and Cinderella Castle is in the center directly. And they purposely did that. And people now look back at their wedding photos because they wanted Cinderella Castle in the shot, and they have this giant birthday cake, and it's like it's like, wow, what did we pay for? You know, so I mean, there are people that are okay with it because they're like, hey, we got married, you know, for the 25th anniversary. You know, we have the big giant Pepto-Bismol in the back, you know, with the big 25 on it. That's cool. But there are also people that paid a lot of money and they're like, we wanted the classic Cinderella Castle. Which I will say, I am so glad that they are going back to the roots and giving Cinderella Castle back its signature paint job.
Oh, by far. And
for which, how long does that freaking take?
I don't know. They haven't even started that yet.
They made the announcement at Destination D23. Great. That's perfect. They could have literally started that the next day if they really wanted to. And you know what? That would have been the perfect time because literally there's nothing going on right now.
Watch what's going to happen. Well, I'm just going to say.
Well, now they can't do it because now they have the holidays, and then people are going to be complaining about that. But really, January into February, they really should consider doing it because there's going to be nothing going on.
As long as they get it done before our trip, I'm okay. Because the last thing I want to see on Cinderella's castle.
Oh no!
And scattering all over the place.
I swear to God, on my grandparents' grave.
Oh Lord, here we
knock
go.
on wood. If we go there and they have a huge freaking scrims up on
I'm gonna scream.
I'm like, I need to get in touch with Burbank, like ASAP. These freaking things need to go down, like today. Yeah. Like I want to stand here and I want to see you remove those damn construction scrims down.
That's what I mean.
Oh my God, that I did not think of that.
Oh God,
I did not think of that. Oh shit, I'm calling Walt Disney World after we're done because it's like I'm gonna ask them like, do you guys have any timeline of like when this this paint job is gonna? Because here's the thing, unfortunately, there are gonna be some things that you guys will unfortunately miss out on just because of the timing. And it is what it is. There's things that go on all the time that you can never like time it completely. But
Sure.
unfortunately, you guys won't be able to, even though yes, it's not superior to Indiana Jones by
Oh,
far,
sure.
but it would have been nice if you guys could have experienced Dinosaur. Just even
Sure.
though it's not maintenance up to what it used to be because they're just basically letting it go. Because why put money into something that's going to be taken out
Yeah.
anyway? But just for the sake of saying that you experienced it,
Sure.
um, that would have been really cool for you guys to experience Dinosaur. Also, you guys probably won't be able to experience Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith because I think that's also going to be down for the Muppets. But on the plus side is once Tropical Americas comes up
Oh,
and
I'm going
Rock
back.
and Roller Coaster comes up as the Muppets, I think honestly, you and I are kind of on that same wavelength that we're probably going to be doing a lot of traveling to Walt Disney World to cover all this stuff because I'm going to let you know, like when I go, if that's when you want to go, you could just be my travel buddy with that because like I'm going to be that's probably when I'll get my Walt Disney World annual pass back again. And really, honestly, I should have got it this year so that way I could have got a damn calendar, just to the fact of you think honestly, even being a Magic Key, give us a calendar.
I know. Hey, you're speaking my language, man. I'm telling you right now, these benefits again between Universal and Disney, there's almost at this point there's no comparison. Universal's just on top with everything, freebies, giveaways. You got
Well, how
you know,
about
the
well,
benefits, everything.
Well, how about even with the Magic Keys recently now? It took them how long? And it only happened because they removed the ticket booths that you can now upgrade your Magic Key online. You don't have to go to the ticket booth anymore. But
Okay,
they only did that because they removed the ticket booths. Why couldn't you just go online and upgrade? With modern technology, I don't understand why that wasn't already implemented.
no, you're 100% right, and you want to know something funny. So I don't know if they fixed it. I don't know because I don't know if I can do it because I have the Inspire. But David from Fresh Baked, when he put a video out on one of his sister channels, not his main channel, but one of his sister channels, he was in his home studio talking about the ticket booths and how long people were waiting, where the temporary line is for tickets and all this. And he tried on the app because he has one of the keys he has. I think it's for his daughter or maybe himself. I'm not sure. He has one of the lower key passes or magic keys. So he tried that feature on the app to update or to upgrade the magic key, and the function wasn't even available yet. So they literally announced it on social media, on their social media. They announced it, they put it on the app with no usability. So it's almost like a tease, like, oh, look, see, we promised we were going to put it on there, but you can't use it yet. So that's going to be another, what, 6
See,
to 12
and also to kind of Disney's credit with that. Well, not really credit, but like Universal's kind of notorious for doing stuff like that too. Because I've
Oh, sure.
noticed that like certain things like on their apps that you go to click on something and
Yeah.
it'll show like a little window, like a little boxed window, and you
Sure.
try clicking on it and it doesn't open, and you have to keep on like refreshing it
Yeah.
or logging out and re-logging back in.
Sure.
But that's more so of a glitch.
Yeah.
Universal. This from Disney is saying like, yeah, we're making an announcement, but we don't have it online yet. At least they probably should have said that in the fine print. I don't know if they did or not, but did they have like a date or did they say like it was
No.
they said like, oh, you could just upgrade
No.
when you want.
And that's part of the problem. They didn't say that. So it's like you make an announcement, but there's no detail, but yet you could go to D23, stand there in front of 20,000 plus fans in the Honda Center and say, yep, we're building Avatar. We're not calling it a land, we're calling it an experience, and this is how much it's going to cost. But yet they can't even simplify a post on social media saying, hey, We're adding a new feature to our app. You can upgrade now on our app. It's going to be available on this date at this time. So when it becomes available, by all means, upgrade.
Well, and speaking that you had mentioned Avatar, and this is why, and again, I'm not saying that I am right on this. I very well could be wrong, but this is why I have kind of a little bit of a head scratch with this. When they said that they were going to close Monsters Inc. for Avatar, and Monsters Inc. is more so closing down in the beginning of 2026.
Yeah.
A lot of people are thinking, oh, they're going to start Avatar in early 2026. I don't think so. And I had mentioned it before. Again, kudos to Bricky. I think they're closing Monsters Inc. for the purpose so they can start on Coco. I don't think that they're closing Monsters Inc. for Avatar just yet, because I really truly don't think they know really what direction they want to go with Avatar. We have no concrete. We only had what, 2 pieces or 3? No, 4. Well, we had 4. We had like 2 concept arts of what the ride, the e-ticket ride, is going to look like,
Sure.
and 2 very vague concept arts of what the land is going to overall look like, which again, you can't get married to the concept art because it keeps changing. And then at D23, they give us like a half, not even a half, but like just like a little semi clay model, but it wasn't even fully done. It just showed the rock work, or as I like to call it, the bloomin' onion butthole.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then that was it, you know? So it's like, there's nothing significant right now that can convince me otherwise to say that Avatar is going to be ready for construction in 2026. I think, honestly, I would even beg to say that they may start Avatar in 2027. And here's why I think that they would start Avatar in 2027. Because depending on how long it takes for them to finish Coco, and Avengers will be up, then they can close off Hollywoodland, because then you would have more to do. You'll have Coco, and then you'll have 2 attractions at Avengers Campus that can offset closing Hollywoodland.
So this is what I think. I think exactly the same. I think the one additive they can do, and it would be very smart on Disney's part to do this, is to immediately, and I mean immediately, whether it's in December or January, to start that Eastern Gateway parking structure and build the Sky Bridge over Harbor, and at least have that done, the Avengers Campus attractions done, possibly the Coco attraction done by 28. If they can execute that, then we're in great shape. Then if Avatar takes another 5 years after that, I'm fine with that, because at least I know now that when I go to Disneyland, it's not going to be an F show, because now we're going to have a now new mega parking structure that's also going to take, you know, the stress away from Mickey and Friends, because I love parking at Mickey and Friends. I know a lot of people don't like, you know, taking the tram in the downtown Disney. I like doing it. And a lot of times when it's busy, it's an F show. Going through security, it's so bad. And then once you go through security, you have to wait for like, I don't know, 3 or 4 trams before you even get on. It's ridiculous.
Security, that's another whole conversation too. Disney really needs to. This is the perfect opportunity for Disney to do so.
Yeah.
The fact that a lot of things have to be rerouted and changed, while they're in the process of doing that, they really should highly consider changing their security system and operations, because they need to start getting conveyor belts. They need to start getting things, because as the resort is going to grow and expand and even get even more popular than what it already is, with Coco, with the Avengers, with Avatar, whatever is going to go in the Simba lot, whatever is going to go over in the Lilo and Stitch parking lot, and eventually the third gate in Toy Story, the demand for Disneyland is going to be so hyped up. And then all people are going to be backed up onto the Eastern Gateway bridge.
Yeah.
You have to keep people moving. Now, again, I'm not just saying just rush everybody in. You still have to have safety.
Oh, sure.
You know, you want to make sure everyone is safe and that people aren't bringing in stuff that they shouldn't. Absolutely. But they have to, again, with technology today, there's a lot of things that can be done with, instead of just one individual security person literally going through each bag at a time.
Oh
I'm telling you, they can maybe get away with a little bit of it now, but once the resort starts growing, the demand of the amount of people that's going to be showing up, because again, Disney's going to want more international travelers. We're already seeing it now. They want people out of state. We're already seeing that now. So, what is it going to be like when they do have all this new stuff coming out? They're not going to have enough lines. They're not going to have enough security guards. And then that's where people could get stuff in that they're not supposed to.
exactly my point. And to your point as well, I kind of like what they're doing at the at Mickey and Friends right now with the security. I think it could be better implemented, but for right now, I think what they're doing is having certain lines dedicated for people that have bags, people that don't have bags, and then people that have strollers. I think if they go that route, it would be so much better. That way, people that don't have anything get right through. People that have bags, it might take a minute, but not long. And people that have strollers, if they take 20 minutes per person, well, so be it. You brought a stroller, you knew what you're getting yourself into.
Exactly.
And that's something they need to implement as well at the new gates they have for Disneyland and DCA. Because prime example, when I was coming to meet you the other night for your cocktail combo video, and great job, by the way, on that video. It was amazing time.
Thank you. Yeah, and of course, you joining, it made the conversation. So
Absolutely. And waiting at the gates, I had my magic band because I like using a magic band. I know people hate it because there's very limited things to do with it compared to Walt Disney World, but I see with Disneyland Forward, they will add more ability to it, I hope, and that's what I want to see. But I was waiting there. Every single line that was open had one, if not two, if not three people with strollers. And it drove me nuts because these people in front of me, and I wasn't saying anything, I was being totally respectful because I would never say anything to anybody out loud. It's just not how I operate.
yeah,
I know you would, but I don't run that way.
yeah.
But literally it took 15 minutes because they had a kid, and I'm not blaming them, but they had a kid that had disabilities that was in kind of like a, oh my god, I just said the word too. Like kind of like a wheelchair almost.
Yeah, it's like I know what you mean. Like it's like a wheelchair, but yeah.
Yeah. So, it took 20 minutes because they were trying to scan people's tickets because they had tickets, but they had them on emails and they forgot to print them, so they had to go through that. Then they're trying to, because when you walk up to the gates, you have the tablet right there that's supposed to take your photo. Well, obviously the tablet you can't take off the station, it's stationary, so the cast member had to get out of her seat, walk around, she had to mess with her PDA phone first to kind of configure it, and then she had to walk around, get out of her seat, take a picture of the kid. Then the kid had to do something, I forgot. It was a whole spaghetti mess of nonsense. For 20 minutes I was waiting, and every single line had something like that. Now, one thing I would like to see going forward, like I talked about with the Mickey and Friends security gates, is they have dedicated lines for only people with strollers, people that have magic or the magic bands. I know, and again, I know people are not happy about those magic bands, but people that do use the magic bands or have the phone accessible, great. People that have paper tickets, like they print in emails, then they go on another line. So that way flow goes, quick. And that's something I want to see, because I don't want to be stuck behind someone that has a stroller that takes 20 minutes.
And I will say this in all seriousness. I do joke around and stuff, but I will say this. I give a lot of credit to families that do bring their children or their loved ones that are handicapped into the park.
Absolutely.
That cannot be easy to do. It's a
No.
challenge just on a normal day, but to take them into a park where there's a lot of people, high capacity, a lot of operations and everything, kudos to you.
Absolutely.
And again, but I do agree with you. I think there should be a dedicated line. So that way, if you do have a stroller, you do have a wheelchair, you have a power scooter or whatever mechanical kind of thing, that way that line is dedicated and can handle that capacity for those people. So and I don't say that to be discriminating. It's just that way they can take their time to get
Sure.
them in on their, and then you have the line, as you were saying, if you have like a magic band or you have like the little medallion thing, you scan in, go in. But then they should have the line for the people that don't know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that where it's like, oh my gosh, like we did it at Universal where it was not difficult. You bring up your pass or your ticket,
Yeah.
they scan it, you put your fingerprint on, you walk in. It
Yeah.
was like almost a half hour. This one team member, God bless them, they were
Yeah.
with this family that they didn't know what they were doing.
Oh,
Like,
geez.
how can you not know what you're doing if you're ready to go into the park? You have to have your tickets ready. You can't just stand there and then right when you walk up, oh, let me jump on my phone, let me find my ticket. No,
Yeah.
you have that shit ready.
Yeah.
Then it's like, then their ticket was invalid because they booked it for another day. And it was like, oh my God, like, I'm just like, so they need to have a line dedicated for the people that are like, they have no idea what they're doing because that also holds up the line too.
Yeah. And to be fair to Universal and also kind of, negative towards Universal as well. I've run into that problem, whether it's, myself or someone in front of me, like perfect example. And I preach this all the time since they're closing the front of Universal. So where the security sits right now, where the globe sits, all that's going to be walled off. The security area is getting removed. Then the globe's moving up 10, 15, 20 feet. Corn, the theme park wizard, shout out to him. It's going to move towards the gate. And one of the things I've told Wizard a million times, and I've told people on my Conductor Sunday live streams, being on your channel, other people's channel, is the mere fact that I want to see the fingerprint scanners go the way of the dodo, get it the hell out of there, and get with the program and get with facial recognition.
Our mutual friend, Mademoiselle, would definitely agree with you. She cannot stand the fingerprint system.
No, I cannot either. And I know a lot of people do not like facial recognition because they don't want their image put into the system, or should I say the matrix, or whatever the hell you call it.
But here's the thing, like, you're in the system. They'll find you no matter what. It's like, even with internet and social media and going online, you can have how many softwares.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You're out there. You're in the dark web.
Well, see, that's what I mean. You're in the dark web, and plus, your picture is already on, like you said, dark servers. It's all over social media. Then your pictures, in the system of the U.S. government. Because what you have to do when you drive a car, oh, that's right, get a driver's license. And what's on your driver's license? Your photo ID. So I don't get why people are so hatred towards the facial recognition, because I, quite frankly, if God willing, if they go to that system at Universal Hollywood, you imagine what the pace of the lines would be? There would be no lines outside. It would be a steady thoroughfare of people going into the park like we see in Universal Orlando. And I can't wait to check out that system when I'm out there, because I want to see how, accelerated the wait time is compared to what we do out here in Hollywood with the fingerprint scanner. That I would say at least at this point, and this is an accurate number, at least 80% of the time you have to put your finger on the fingerprint scanner. It won't scan, and then you have to take it off. they have to come over, wipe it with some cleaner or something to get the smudges off, and then you have to do it again, and then there's a small chance you might have to do it a third time. And tell me that's not annoying, especially
Well,
if you're an annual pass holder and not
and
just a day ticket holder.
and we know how well Universal can get people through because we
Absolutely.
see it at their security system.
Yeah.
Like you go through security like bing bang boom. Like there's no one's business. So the fact that it takes a while to get through the ticketing process of it, then that's telling you, okay, there's something that the ticketing is doing something different than what security is, and it's with that darn dang fingerprint system, as you had mentioned. Yeah, you get rid of that and you do a facial recognition thing. Oh, Universal would be getting people in like butter.
And that's what I'm saying. Even like you said with the security, our security at Universal is great. Or I would say at least good at this point. It could be greater. And Wizard has hinted at many times recently in his videos. He's hoping for, I think it's like a full body, like you walk through and you can have your backpack with you, everything. You walk through the scanner and it scans everything. So it'll know what you have in your backpack. And obviously you have security personnel right there. So if they find something, they're obviously going to stop you. But it's almost like going through the TSA at an airport.
Walt Disney World has them.
See, that's what I mean. And I think even Knott's Berry Farm has them as well. Why we cannot have that at Universal, hopefully that is something we see with the new system. Hope to God, cross my fingers, they implement. One, getting rid of the fingerprint scanners, going to facial recognition, and two, upgrading the security. If you have those two down with all the attractions they want to build in Hollywood for future lands, attractions, experiences, new things on the studio tour, and the fact that they want to build not one but two 500-room hotels, you imagine how much easier it is going to be to go through security, go through the theme park, and then imagine what we can see in City Walk, which we once had at one point in the early 2000s with the nighttime entertainment, with the nightclubs, the kind of themed restaurants. I think one of them was called Wizards, believe it or not, where it was a dining show. You go in, you pay for experience, you dine, and there's a show. They can add more bars. They could do a lot of the stuff. So again, it's something we're seeing, but to kind of round about it, these theme parks, they're all about the guest experience. Well, how can you not see something that would make the guest experience that much easier? Like, for example, this Friday, right? We're going to the Festival of Holidays. That's what the title of this video is. Okay. Let's say it wasn't raining. First day of the event, Festival of Holidays at DCA, the story time with Deadpool. Then you got at Disneyland, you got Casey Jr. and you got Storybook Land opening after refurb for the last couple months. Imagine what the line situation wouldn't have been or would be if it wasn't raining. And again, I guarantee you that when me and George are in line, I can almost promise you a 95% guarantee each line will have people that have strollers. And I'm not talking about people that have disability family members. I'm just talking about strollers with kids in it. Every single line will have those people in those lines, instead of having a dedicated line for people that have those strollers. And watch what's going to happen. It would be a cluster up to try to get in the DCA or Disneyland, because again, Fresh Baked said, Disney compared to Universal, I'm sure Universal is downsizing too, but Disney, they are going the way of telling, guests, hey, you want a ticket? It's better that you buy it online. And that family of four is going to go, what do you mean online? What do you mean I could buy a ticket online? What's the lightning lane? What's this? What's this? How do I do this? How do I do? because they're getting rid of their personnel and they're referring people to online, and that's the biggest problem. The face on face interaction is dying off, and we're getting to a point now where it's going to be just all technology based, and basically they're going to tell guests at this point, hey, we don't have cast members, so basically in a nutshell, good luck, buy your ticket online.
Now, you had mentioned about the strollers. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, and as I said, maybe I'm just a little bit insensitive about it, but
Sure.
I'm just so used to how I grew up in the 90s and what have you. My mom took me everywhere, and it was with a little umbrella stroller. It was literally just a little stroller with a little pouch thing down at the bottom that you could store some stuff, and that was it.
Yeah.
Nowadays, people bring in these strollers that are the size of like artillery tanks, or like the size of like a baby that's the size of a loaf of bread. They're tiny. They're so small. It's like, why do you need that big of a stroller?
Oh, yeah.
Bring like 10 bags with you. Like, I get it. You have to have like formula and diapers and stuff like that, but you need 10 bags to do that. Like, and it's like these strollers are like this. Again, they're like double wide, the size of Winnebagos, and they're like pushing them in the sidewalk. You have to maneuver around them. You have like stroller parking everywhere. And again, I get it. You do need strollers, obviously, if you have young kids,
Sure.
and you want your young kids to experience Disney. But it's like, I don't get, and honestly, I've been seeing a lot of those wagons too. I thought Disney removed those.
That's what I thought, but I guess they made an exception. How and why, I don't know. Again, this is where I have a massive problem, and this goes for Disney and Universal. I'm not just here to pick on Disney, even though Disney does a lot of things I don't agree with. But you know, where's the information on that? You know, like George said, 1 minute they allowed it, the next minute they didn't allow it, they banned it. Now they're allowing people to do it again. It's like, where is the clarification on this stuff? Where is the information where we can know, okay, well, we can't do this, can't do that, can't do this? It's like, wait a second. So it's like the same thing where when you went to 90s night trying to look for this special character that never comes out, you know, you got misled not once, I think either 2 or 3 times, and you were upset because it's a character you buy a ticket for to specifically see that character.
Yeah.
And you were misled. And where was the information?
Well, I mean, yeah, I'll just mention this too, because I've mentioned this story so many times. So I'll shorthand it. So for 90s night, all I really wanted to do, I mean, I wanted to do a lot of stuff, but one of my main priorities was to meet Darkwing Duck. Sure. I absolutely loved that show growing up. I used to watch it on Disney Afternoon and Toon Disney and everything. And he was one of my favorite characters. And again, he's not a regular character. He's out, you know, ever, but they had him out for 90s night. So for the first night, both Abby and I went to both 90s night. They only had 2 nights. And so we went the first night, and we thought, okay, we just get in the queue line to meet Darkwing Duck. Well, here, what you had to do was you had to get a specialty wristband to go and meet him that they were handing out 2 hours prior to the event. And by the time we got up there, when the event just started, they said, oh, you need a wristband to meet him. I'm like, oh, well, where do we go get the wristband? Oh, they were given out 2 hours ago. We're all out for the night. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. The event didn't even start. And you mean to tell me that I needed a wristband that no one had mentioned on the app or on the website or on anything, that I can't meet Darkwing Duck? I was so pissed. So then when Abby and I went the following day for day 2, we're like, okay, we got the game plan. We're in line. We're getting in early. We're going to go up to the Fantasyland Theater, because that's where they had them meeting there, and that's where you would get the wristband. It's like, okay, we're gonna hightail it to the Fantasyland Theater. So while we're waiting in line for them to open the gates for 90s night, I see a post from Mondo from Five Fire. Shout out to Mondo. And he received this little blue paper saying that due to high demand of the characters, Darkwing Duck, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, and I think Scrooge and Launchpad McQuack will not be doing meet and greets, but you can walk by them and wave. And I thought,
Wow.
you're kidding me. So we just paid another ticket, the same price as it was the night before, but we're getting two different experiences where we could have met Darkwing Duck, but they neglected to say that you needed a wristband that they were handing out 2 hours prior, and it sold out. They gave them all away within like the first half hour.
Unbelievable.
And then the second night, they weren't meeting at all because of high demand. I don't care if it's high demand. We all paid upcharge premium price for those tickets. You find a way.
Yeah.
And that is where, and honestly, after this year that I went to, Abby and I did all three events aside from Oogie Boogie. We did 90s night, we did Star Wars night, we did Sweethearts night. We possibly may do another one in 2026 if it's a brand new one, because usually what Disney does is they go all out for the new ones.
Oh,
but
sure.
when they bring them back, they give us a half-ass diluted version of what it was the first time. So if you do something new, we might do that. For Star Wars night and Sweethearts night, we probably won't do again. I am happy and satisfied that Abby got to meet, the Jawas and the Ewoks for Star Wars night, but that was really cool. And we got to try some of the specialty foods, but I think those particular things, the prices don't justify of what the event is.
No. And that's, and again, I know that was at Disneyland. One of the things, and shout out to Hey Bricky, is he mentioned to you, and we're talking about this before this video, was that the Hyperion, that's doing absolutely zero nothing.
Mm-hmm.
They host banquets, they host events in that space, so it's not just a theater. They probably remove the ground floor, like all the seating, and they put tables in there for an event, which is fine. I got an idea for you, because I remember doing this at Disneyland. I cannot, for the life of me, I swear to you not, I cannot remember where I did this at Disneyland. But we were probably at one of the hotels, and I cannot remember for the life of me what it was or which one it was. But it was in a ginormous banquet hall. I think they had like 2 or 3 banquet halls put together. It was humongous. Okay. And it was a kind of like a breakfast lunch type buffet. And it was an event that you could buy tickets for. And they had all the characters, meet and greet with you while you're enjoying breakfast. And it was like a 3 to 5 hour event. It was awesome. And they had different characters come out, but there was like
was it in Storytellers?
No. Storytellers is too small. I'm talking about like,
this is like a huge.
Oh yeah. So this is like one of the banquet rooms that you see at like the Grand Californian, but there was like 2 or 3 of them put together. It was.
So I wonder if it was like in like the banquet ballroom.
It probably was, but like, how you have one and then you have another, but in between them both, they can remove a wall, and it's wall. Yeah. That's probably what it was from what I remember. And they had characters. Well, to kind of relive your 90s childhood, what if they did something like that, like a breakfast or a dinner or a lunch, and they had all those 90s characters come out? And they did it multiple nights at the Hyperion.
Yeah, I wish Disney would do that more often, because down at Walt Disney World, they do this thing called Moonlight Magic. And it's unfortunately only for DVC members.
Oh, sure.
So it's like a DVC member Moonlight Magic kind of thing. They usually hold it at I think Hollywood Studios. Sometimes they like randomize the parks, but from what I remember, it's usually at Hollywood Studios. And they bring out very rare character meet and greets, like characters that you would never see in the parks anymore. Like from Moonlight Magic, they had Stitch from Lilo and Stitch, but they also had his cousins.
Wow.
From the TV series. They had Quasimodo, Clopin, Phoebus, Esmeralda from Hunchback. They had Hercules and Meg.
You're kidding.
They just had like a bunch of characters that they used to have in the park,
Well, sure.
but they don't have them anymore. So it's like, okay, that's cool for like DVC members,
Yeah.
but it's like, can you do something for people that, necessarily can't afford a DVC? It's like, I mean, yeah, that would be, and you could do it as an upcharge event.
Yeah.
Just let us pay for it, but give us what we pay for. That's my thing.
And that's part of the problem, where I see cutbacks from Disney, like you said, first opening night, no clarification whatsoever. And again, I'm going to come to Disney's defense just as if I would come to Universal's defense.
Absolutely. And that's what we do on here. I just want to make it very clear on Theme Park Conductors channel and also on here in Holo Gelato. We just say it like it is. We give the good and the bad, the positive and the negative.
Yeah.
We just bring it all. So if there's something that is good from Disney and Universal, we say it. If there's something that, that needs to be talked about that's maybe not on the positive side, we still call them out on it, but we do it in a very healthy, respectful way. So I just wanted to put that out there.
No, absolutely. And thank you for doing that and clarifying that. When you look at it, your 90s night, okay, that's just like an absolute perfect example. There was no direction. It was kind of just all over the place. But with any after dark event or special event, usually the first night's chaos. I don't care if it's coming from Disney or it's coming from Universal. It's just chaos.
Yes.
Granted. But there still should be some type of structure, and there was no structure. Then come the second night, like George from Holo Gelato was saying, Mondo put a post out there. He had a blue little card saying that they weren't doing meet and greets with the characters anymore, and they were still charging the same price as of grand opening night for the event. And all the best you could do is, lightning in the bottle, walk past one of these characters and wave. That's all you could do, and it's kind of sad. Meanwhile, you got, Universal, where I kind of feel, at least in my own opinion, that Universal does a little bit better job, not by much, but a little bit better job with their meet and greets and trying to keep guests informed where they're going to be at, what time they're going to be there, and how long they're going to be there. Usually it's like 15, 20 minutes, maybe half an hour tops. And Disney is kind of like, and shout out to Jared from Capture the Magic. He was mentioning on one of our videos a couple months ago that Walt Disney World is not really doing as many meet and greets. It's kind of like, you see them walking by and you're like, oh, hey, Mickey or whoever, and they're just walking by. It's not, they're stationary and people are lining up to see them. And I'm not just saying Mickey. I'm just throwing a character out there.
Yeah, but what they did with 90s night, the second night, they treated it like how they used to when the parks first reopened from the shutdown in 2020, where it was like you had to keep social distance, which again, at that time, Disney had to comply what they had to do.
Oh, sure.
That's fine. But it's like for 90s night, there was no need to do that, to just do a walk by and just, people love having that interaction. People love like going close up to the character and giving them a hug and like getting their picture taken. Oh, which by the way, I also did a short on this and I have to mention this in full format. Me, Abby, and Mademoiselle were at Universal the other day and we decided to get our picture taken with Hello Kitty.
Oh boy.
I don't know what was in this team member's drink, but it was like all over the place. One, you had to stand directly on the red carpet. You couldn't stand off the red carpet while you were waiting in line. What? It's like playing the game of like, like where you put pillows on the floor and you can't step on the floor because it's lava. That's what like, and we're like, okay. So then we get up to Hello Kitty and Abby and Mademoiselle were about to put their arms around her and give her a hug. And they were like, oh, she needs personal space because the dress that she's in has like, there's a lot of complicated things to it. And I'm like, then why the hell have her in the dress?
Yeah.
Like, and so I did a little Italiano rant, little short when we were at Universal. And I'm like, I have never heard of a character that you cannot give a hug while you're getting a picture
What?
because they need personal space.
Uh, that's that's the first I've ever heard.
That was
Something
the first for me too. I'm like, I've never heard a team member or a cast member at either Disney or Universal. So Universal was the first that for Hello Kitty, it's like you have to give her personal space based off of the dress that she was wearing.
Now I can I can kind of understand that. Maybe not in that area where the Illumination store is on the upper lot. I could see that maybe at the Hello Kitty store in City Walk, because you walk into that store, it's small, first of all, and where you can meet Hello Kitty, because sometimes she'll come out and you do meet and greets in the store. It's smaller in my room. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's tiny. So maybe I could see something like that for that location, but for where Georgia's talking about, there is plenty of space. And yeah, that I can go on a rant myself. That doesn't even make sense.
Yeah. I wish you would have been there because you probably would have been like, what the hell just happened? Like,
yeah.
I couldn't understand it myself. But kind of sticking on Universal, because we were talking about Disney and how like long these projects are taking, and we're not getting a lot of information like on Coco and Avatar and the Eastern Gateway and everything. Well, Universal just dropped a whole slate of 2026 news, and they literally gave the whole calendar of like what is going on. We literally just ended Halloween season, and we already have the dates for Halloween Horror Nights of next year, which is going to kick off on September 3rd. That to me is wild. And then, of course, it gives the dates for returning of FanFest and Mega Movie Summer. And there's also going to be a lot of dates that they're showcasing annual pass holders, because we're supposed to be getting like annual pass holder night and a special previews, which I'm hopefully that's going to be for Fast and the Furious, and specialty gifts and everything. So that's really cool. I love how Universal took the initiative where they're not giving a whole lot of detail, but they give us a plan of action that they're taking through the whole year. And they've done it last year too. Well, no, not last year, but they did. Well, yeah, they did it in 2024 for 2025, but now they gave the 2026 calendar. And I just love how they gave us like the dates of like when big stuff is coming, and we're ready for it. And that's what gives us time to prepare. You know, when they give us information and it's like last minute, it's like, well, we weren't ready for this. So it's very nice to see that, you know, because I'm already marking the calendar for September 3rd for Halloween Horror Nights.
And speaking of the devil, I'm actually on the app booking my hotel now that you said that. I don't know if you can, George. I don't know if you could pull up the post so we can kind of review those events.
Well, I get that, but you can say what you were going to say while I get that.
Get what?
No, I was going to bring up the post so you can like reiterate to what you were going to say while I get that.
No, it's just I'm so thankful Universal is doing this. You know, again, there's a lot of events we're gonna kind of go over why George is pulling that up. There's a lot of events, and one of the things it's so funny. One of the things for FanFest nights, which I found very interesting. First of all, you can I don't know if they're offering it anymore. Maybe they're not, but at a time they released the tickets for FanFest night, and if you bought the grand opening night ticket, you get a medallion. A special FanFest medallion that they're going to be handing out to people, which is absolutely incredible. The second thing, we already got confirmation on one experience for FanFest nights, and that has to do with Universal Monsters and Scooby-Doo. And how many of my fans out there on Cartoon Network or Toonami, any of those shows where you remember watching the old Scooby-Doo cartoons where literally, you know, they investigate, they capture the monster, and then they pull the mask off the monster and it's a celebrity. That was such an awesome time for cartoons. I tell you what.
You know what would be funny? But before we bring up the roster of everything, now that you say that, that would be very interesting because I love the creativity that because you have the classic Universal monsters, and really when you want to have like a narrative storyline, you don't really know where to go with that.
Yeah.
But so that way it's not too scary. How could you lighten it up? Oh, monsters. What can lighten up with monsters? Scooby Doo and the mystery gang. Like where they, the mystery machine where the gang goes around trying to solve the mystery of who done it. Kind of thing. And I like that. But you just had mentioned about unmasking a monster, and it would be like a celebrity or something. We're in California.
Yeah.
What if like each night that they have FanFest, they have a specialty monster, not the classic Universal monsters. They have a specialty monster that's part of like whatever they have planned. And at the end of the night, they unmask the monster for people to guess, and it is a celebrity.
You imagine that?
Like that would be so cool. Like obviously, you have to have it blocked off so people wouldn't like rush to go to the celebrity, but like you can have it like where one night it's Sabrina Carpenter or another night it's Matt Damon or or if it's whoever, I think that'd be so cool.
That would be freaking awesome. I'm telling you right now, that would literally be, that would break the internet right there. Who in the hell would not want to relive their childhood watching those cartoons and do that? That would be freaking awesome.
That would be really cool. Okay, so I brought up the 2026 event guide for Universal Studios Hollywood. And I do want to say, like, up here at the top, it does mention Fast and the Furious Hollywood Drift, which I think we all were kind of anticipating that it was going to open probably at the very beginning of the 2026 year.
Yeah.
I am curious to know, because if you see the first square right here that says past member bonus benefit from February to March, do you possibly think that could have a tie-in to the Fast and Furious? Like if it was like a bonus benefit where we have like an early preview?
So actually, it's really interesting you mention that. I can 100% at this point believe it. The reason why is look what happened with Super Nintendo World. They were doing soft previews. Then they went from soft previews to annual pass holder previews, then employee previews, and then grand opening. I think this is going to follow that same timeline where they're going to start with soft previews. So there's going to be 1 or 2 days they might allow some guests on there and then close it for the day or a couple days or a couple weeks, then reopen it and do another soft preview. And then it'll go to annual pass holders. Then after that, then it'll go to employees from the Universal company. So people from Orlando will be coming down that are employees, people that are from the international Universal parks and creative teams will come and experience the ride. Then they'll do the grand opening. Obviously, they'll probably have Vin Diesel there, Tyrese Gibson, Paul Walker's brother, his family there, and some of the other characters. Hopefully, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. Hopefully, they have him. If obviously, if everything's cool with Vin Diesel, I don't know about that, but
I think they made amends to but I think they made amends where it was just like they're just cordial. They're not.
Okay. So imagine he'll be there. But I kind of feel like February. I don't know, man. I kind of feel like I still feel like either late December into January is going to be the soft previews, like the off and on previews. And then I kind of feel like February is going to be annual pass holder previews. And then I kind of feel like sometime in March, we're going to see the grand opening.
Yeah.
Or maybe even April.
Yeah, I could see that because they're going to want it open for FanFest nights because FanFest nights actually starts April 23rd. But I think they're going to want to have the ride fully operation before April 23rd.
And I cross my fingers and cross my heart that they actually do the grand opening late, and I mean late March, if not early April. That way it doesn't ruin my trip in Orlando, because I would hate that.
Yeah, there we go. There's another thing. Like, watch, like it's going to be, oh yeah, grand opening for Fast and the Furious Hollywood Drift, March 4th. It's
Of course.
like really?
Of course. Yeah, of course. Because I remember, it's so funny. I stayed at the Hilton across the street, and this is for Super Nintendo World. This is where I met Tommy, and I kind of got him into the theme park space, and that's when he started his channel alongside my channel. And one of the things that I found super funny is JP Land, JP Land 21. It's so funny because he actually posted at the time. He's like, "Yeah, I'm out here at Universal, just sleeping on the ground out here at 10 o'clock at night the previous night." And he was out there sleeping with a blanket, pillow, everything. He had the whole 9 yards, snacks, everything. And a couple of team members and security, they thought it was funnier than hell. I thought it was funny. So I wake up that morning around like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm no joke, 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. I wake up, I start seeing, maybe about 3 or 4 people out there. I'm like, you know what? Screw this. I'm going to clean up and just wait down there. I kid you not. It was one of the funnest experiences I ever had, hanging out with, some content creators, hanging out with JP. Then Tommy came around. That's how me and him met. And then we were waiting there talking. The team members came out, did preview, or did like trivia to kind of give free stuff out, which was pretty cool. And then they let us in. I think it was like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning. And they started us by the Illumination store. Then we walked down to where the Simpsons area is. We stopped again. Then they walked us down the escalators, and there must have been, there must have been 6 or 7 news camera teams out there. It was crazy.
Really?
So we had KTLA 5, we had Channel 7, we had CBS 2, we had KTLA 11, couple other channels or news organizations out there. Then once a bunch of people got interviewed, they had the big cameras with the lights, all that. We walked to the portal where the entrance to Transformers is, and we all stopped right there because they had the red kind of ribbon in front of the tunnel. Then they had a podium where Mark Woodbury spoke. I believe, I could be wrong. I thought he spoke. Maybe I was wrong, but Mark Woodbury was there. Brian Roberts was there. They had a female spokesman. I don't know if she was maybe the media director or something. She was there speaking. Then we had, and I don't care to say his name because I would butcher it and it'd be more of an insult. But the CEO and president of Nintendo was there. He flew out from Japan to open Super Nintendo World. He even had his own translator there, so that was pretty cool. And then she said her speech. These kind of pyro fireworks went off. They opened the land. Everyone started dashing in, running in. It was a lot of fun. And then again, the CEO of Nintendo, he actually got on Mario Kart. So a bunch of us were riding Mario Kart with them. So that was a lot of cool. They had limited grand opening merch for the land. It was such a great experience, and I'm hoping to do that same similar thing with Fast and Furious. With the news cameras, with seeing all the actors there: Vin Diesel, Tyrese Gibson, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Paul Walker's brother and family there. And then obviously the Universal execs, maybe grabbing some limited grand opening day merch, the whole 9 yards. I cannot wait.
Yeah, that's going to be great. And I have to say, I'm glad you had a great experience for something like that, because When I went to D23 in 2019, I wanted to make sure that I was going to make the parks panel.
Oh, sure.
So at that time, you had the option, and it was my decision, that they put you in like the lower basement area where you actually can start lining up for the queue.
Uh-huh.
And you basically can just sleep there on the concrete floor of the convention center. And you're there literally all night until they start lining you up at like 8 in the morning. So while you had a great experience, this was me the next morning waking up for the parks panel.
Oh my God. Whoa. Talk about needing a Red Bull or something. Good Lord.
Ugh.
Oh,
I needed a Red Bull. I think that day I needed holy water.
yeah, no kidding. Good God. Wow.
I'm so glad that D23 doesn't do that anymore.
Oh, thank God.
That was brutal.
Well, speaking of D23, it's so funny because it has its own worst enemies, buying tickets online, and that's a whole nother thing. Again, we're reverting back to just real quick, Disney, before we look at this guide that George had pulled up, paying $1,900 for the Inspire key, you would think there would be some type of incentive or, limited virtual line to buy a D23 ticket, especially George the Disney Italiano has an Inspire key, and he also has the gold D23 membership. Tell me that is not a dedicated fan right there that you should personally make a virtual line for to buy D23 tickets.
Yes, absolutely.
God willing.
That would be so cool. That would be, as I said, there's usually not too much that stresses me out in this world.
Yeah.
Getting tickets for D23 stresses me the hell out. And I don't even mean from when its first conception. I was able to get tickets in 2009, in 2011, in 2013, in 2015, in 2017, in 2019, and even in 2022 when they brought it back after COVID.
Yeah.
But for this last one, oh my gosh, that was a nightmare.
And that was that was an absolute disaster. But I'm lucky you were able to go.
Yeah. Now again, I kind of did the research, and it looks like March is going to be the aimed month that tickets are going to be available. Now, last year it was March 26th.
Oh, Lord.
Now, that would be great if it does fall around there. If it is in the beginning of March,
oh boy,
that is going to be an interesting freaking day, because I could just imagine us being in the hotel, depending on the date, whether we're in Universal or Disney World, and we're sitting in there like on our phones, on our computers, or on our whatever, and we're literally trying to get D23 tickets while we're down Florida.
That would suck. State the obvious.
Yep.
That would suck.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Wow. But no, I'm sorry, George. If you want to pull up that event guide one more time, if you want to take us through this, since you have it up, and
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, I did mention of the Fast and the Furious, and then the bonus benefit. But before I go like in the order, I do just have to point out like the member stuff. So you have the past member bonus benefit, February to March. You have the past member collectible giveaway in May. You have a past member special event May through June. You have past member appreciation days, August through September. You have past member collectible giveaway again. And then you have past member holiday park takeover. And then you also have the freebie ticket for Halloween Horror Nights and a freebie ticket for New Year's Eve. Like, I mean,
okay. So that's like 8 events right there, just for past members.
Just for pass holders.
Come on, Disney. One ticket at Oogie Boogie. Come on. For real.
That's all we're asking, is just for one thing. And it's like pulling teeth.
Yeah.
Literally, yeah. And speaking of teeth, something that is not good for your teeth, but hell, we all enjoy it. Butterbeer season. kicking off in March and runs through May. I'm sorry, you can't go wrong with butterbeer.
No.
I do enjoy the blue milk, at times. Like once in a while, I'll get it at Galaxy's Edge. I'm not a fan of the green. I prefer the blue.
Yeah.
But nothing has anything on butterbeer. I'm sorry.
And it's so interesting because I've tried the hot butter beer, and it's like, it's like drinking hot caramel. I wasn't a fan of it. Obviously, I wanted to try it to say I tried it. But
Right.
I think the best one for me is the cold butter beer. Oh my gosh, so freaking amazing. Like you start drinking it, like I like going to the Three Broomsticks and getting the fish and chips there. And I
Mhm.
get a cold butter beer, and I tell you what, there's been a couple times, I'm guilty of this, a couple times I had to get another butter beer because I blew through my first one. I'm like,
I'm telling you. Well, that's why I never. You will see. Like the more that you go to Universal with me, I never get one butterbeer.
yeah,
Never. No, I mean like literally, I will get two on the spot right there. I double fist it. Like I'll drink both of them down like nobody's business.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Oh my gosh. Oh
It just
man.
became my own tradition. I
Oh yeah.
always get two butterbeers.
Oh
So if
yeah.
Abby wants one too, I get three because then
Oh,
she
there
has
you
one,
go.
and then I have two, and then sometimes I finish off hers if she can't finish it.
Oh, there you go. So 2.5.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
there you go. There you
I
go.
mean, if we really wanted to go full Harry Potter, I think my top record would be 9 3/4.
Oh, there you go. See, I like that. I love that. Oh my gosh. But no, even before the summer, we have two events for pass holders: a collectible giveaway, which I cannot wait to see what that is, and
Mm.
a pass member special event, which immediately is screaming excitement for me because I
Yeah,
can
'cause if it's a
only
special
imagine.
event, I'm trying to think of what that would be. It's in May and June. So it's right before right before Mega Movie Summer. It's after FanFest nights, I would think.
It is. I, th- God, I think because I had it several years ago, 3 years ago. Uh, it was something very similar to this, and it was one of the most amazing times I had. The long story short, it was my 30th birthday. I took my dad with me to go experience Universal because he hasn't been back since I was 5 years old. So that was a memorable moment with my dad. But they had an event just like this, and it was a takeover event for pass holders. And literally, they had DJs in the plaza. They had DJs at Simpsons. They had DJs on the lower lot. Then they had some very special food and drink items. They had some characters roaming around. All the attractions were open, and I think it closed at like 2 o'clock in the morning. It was nuts. But one of the things I think Coca-Cola sponsored it, and at the time Coca-Cola had a whole setup in the plaza area where the main DJ was. And one of the things I found very cool was they were experimenting with new flavors of drinks they wanted to mass produce for, production. So they had like I forgot what it was. It was a Stardust one that speak of Stardust. They had a Stardust one or a Starlight one. They had another flavor and another flavor. So they had like three different flavors you could try. And the awesome part about this is you you're not limited to one. They mass produce like thousands of these little mini cans. So you can go back like 5 or 6 times if you want and try each flavor multiple times. It was freaking awesome. So I'm thinking that's what this event is, but I could be completely wrong. I don't know.
Okay. But either way, I'm excited for it. I think like whatever the special event is, for past members, obviously we'll be there to cover like whenever they have in store for us. But we did mention the Fan Fest nights. Obviously, it kicks off April 23rd and runs to May 16th. We were giving some of our thought process on it of like them adding Scooby-Doo intermixed with the classic Universal monster. So that's going to be really cool, and I'm very excited to see what else they have in store for Fan Fest nights. And then this one is okay. I think this is just basically just for like summer promotions and marketing, which, as I said, is fine. It's the Mega Movie Summer that runs June through August. It's not as exciting as like the Fan Fest nights or Halloween Horror Nights, but it's like a nice little fill-in, I think, just to get people into the parks during the summertime.
Sure. And probably the headliner is going to be Jaws, which I'm okay with. Jaws is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
The mere fact that we still have Jaws on the studio tour is freaking phenomenal. And when they had the Mega Movie Summer event last summer, or this previous summer, by Hollywood and Dine right next to it, they had the big Bruce meet and greet photo op. Then they had they actually had it.
Are they keeping him there?
I think they are.
They should just keep him there because I mean he's nostalgic to Universal, and it kind of ties into like the harbor, like for the arena for like Waterworld.
That's what I think.
So you kind of already have like that theme up there. So I would just keep it. Keep it.
Yeah, and they had a lot of amazing foods and merch and meet and greet characters, so I cannot wait to see it. I'm trying to think. Was there anything else that I saw there? They had, well, that was part of the 60th though, but they had for the tram tour, but they kept the photo ops there for Mega Movie Summer event. At least some of them was like old expired attractions for the studio tour. They had that presented in the plaza, so that was pretty cool. So I'm definitely curious what they're going to bring this year.
Yeah. Sure. Absolutely. And then obviously too, the 4th of July celebration, July 3rd through the 4th. Now, is that also included for annual pass holders or is that an upcharge?
I think that's included.
Okay. Again, another perk.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was actually thinking of maybe doing that. I do know that my mother-in-law's birthday is actually on July 4th. So nice. We'll probably spend some time with her, for doing like a little family gathering. But I would like to try to make it to possibly do Disneyland and Universal for the 4th of July. Maybe pick one day for July 3rd, one day for July 4th. I think Disney World does, the 4th of July a little bit more better than Disneyland. Yeah. Especially like at Magic Kingdom and Epcot. But I think it'd still be kind of cool. I'm actually going to be doing, I'm going into Disneyland for Thanksgiving because I've never actually on Thanksgiving Day. So that's going to be kind of cool.
That is going to be pretty cool. I cannot wait to see your coverage because I'm not going to be having like Thanksgiving dinner at my home. My aunt wants to have they're having a Thanksgiving dinner slash I don't know if I call it experience or just a dinner at their clubhouse, like because they live in a gated community by Mission Viejo, so some of their higher up homes out there they have like a clubhouse. It's a big building and it's a lot of fun. I've done it before like 8 years ago, so that's what I'm going to be doing for Thanksgiving, so I can't wait. But I can't wait to see your coverage on that.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, because we're going to be there the night before and the day of. I wanted to get the Thanksgiving dinner at Goofy's Kitchen, but unfortunately I forgot about the date that it was going up online, but I was able to get the Thanksgiving brunch.
Oh, nice.
On Thanksgiving Day, and we're doing the Thanksgiving dinner the night before at Goofy's Kitchen. So,
nice.
So we're going to do both there, and then so that's going to be great. So we'll see how that goes. It's my first time actually going to a park actually on the holiday. So
Wow.
yeah, so I'll definitely be covering that. And then also too, moving along with the event guide. This I thought was kind of clever. So this is called Back to Hogwarts, which is August through September, which I feel like that's Universal's play on back to school, because it's like it's the back to school season time for kids, like
Yeah.
between August and September. So it's like they kind of placate that. So it's like, okay, it's school season now, so back to Hogwarts. So I thought that was kind of cool.
And,
I don't know exactly what that would actually mean. Like I'm for sure they'll have like maybe some specialty stuff going on in Wizarding World.
so one of the things because this is like the second or third year they brought, they've labeled Back to Hogwarts for the event guide. One of the things I would love to see, including with FanFest nights, is to bring back some of the characters they had from Fantastic Beasts during that time. I think that would be very cool for Back to Hogwarts and FanFest, because I know it got very popular views on that, and positive reviews. So I could see that coming back for sure.
Okay, nice. And then I have to just call it out. This is, I think, out of everything aside from FanFest, that this is the most exciting thing that I'm anticipating. Is we just ended it. We literally just ended Halloween season, but Universal dropped literally the dates for next Halloween Horror Nights, kicking it off September 3rd, running it all the way through November 1st. And that just gives me the hype for next year.
Yeah.
It just seems like they always seem to outdo themselves with Halloween Horror Nights. And it was a banger season this year, adding Terrifier and Five Nights at Freddy's and the Wyatt Six. The Wyatt Six became my favorite house out of everything. I absolutely love how they incorporated that. And so I'm very excited to see what they have planned for next year.
Oh, same here. I'm super excited because we're all of us content creators, me and George and others, we're keeping a very, very, and I mean a very close eye on a possible Comcast merger with Warner Brothers if they do decide to buy them out. And if that happens, I could tell you what, HHN is already a banger both on the West and East Coast. If we acquire Warner Brothers and we pick apart that company for the studio rights and some of these IP rights for some of the movies, especially on the horror aspect, you imagine just HHN just taking over the Halloween season. There won't even be a such thing as Oogie Boogie anymore. There won't even be such a thing as Not Scary Farm to a point. Not Scary Farm does put up a good front, so I'm not going to diss them 100%, but I'm telling you right now, Oogie Boogie is going to just be blown out of the water if that happens.
I think as far as a scare factor, I feel like Knott's takes the prize.
They do.
Like for scare factor, I feel like when it comes to nostalgia and tying it into scare, where you're utilizing heavy IP, that's where I feel HHN takes the win for that.
Oh, by far. And I do feel like Not Scary Farm does a wonderful job with their scare zones, because you can't really see the characters coming. HHN, you can kind of see the characters coming from a distance. Not Scary Farm is completely different in my opinion. There's a lot of skill that goes behind a lot of these scare actors that perform every year, and especially walking through Ghost Town, they pump so much fog in there you can't even see in front of your face. So when a scare actor comes right up at you, it's exciting, it's thrilling, and it's scary. So, and you don't really see that at Halloween Horror Nights as much anymore.
Yeah, very true.
Unless you're in the house. So,
yeah. Do you have any predictions of what next year would bring for HHN?
Okay. So without the Warner Brothers merger, if I just had to throw my hat in the ring, I'm going to say right now Five Nights at Freddy's 2. That's almost a certain, for at least for my guess. Probably a Terrifier based off either number 3 or number 4. And then for houses possibly new, I could see John Murdy trying to get maybe Conjuring. I could see him trying to get Saw, maybe try to get oh my gosh, Freddy, Freddy back into the picture, since the actor that plays Freddy just recently got his star on the Walk of Fame. So I could see him returning back to Halloween Horror Nights. I'm trying to think who else could I see. If I'm going to pick any, and I mean any returning house, and George, I know you didn't go to it, but me and Andre, Mr. Scary Dre, went through it, and it was absolutely incredible, was Krampus. If we got Krampus to return, I'm telling you what, you walk through that house, George, you would love it in an instant.
Really? Yeah. I'm very curious if they were to do Krampus. I think that would be awesome. I think for me, I've enjoyed it for the past couple years, but I'm kind of over like the Blumhouse with the Terror Tram.
Yeah.
Say that. I'm not saying like don't have Blumhouse, but I feel like that the characters they utilize, I'm kind of over them now.
Yeah.
I want to see something different.
Oh, 100%. There's a lot of different things they could do with the Terror Tram if they do bring it back next year. Because I know, according to Wizard, that whole area is going under massive construction. And I mean massive construction, because they're building a production studio on that land. They're also relocating they're relocating supposedly the Psycho house to another area of the lot. And basically the whole plane crash area from War of the Worlds is going to be gone. And then possibly we're not going to see Jupiter's Claim last too much longer.
That really needs to go. Yeah. Like I would have got rid of Jupiter's Claim like before War of the Worlds.
Yeah, with you. 100%. And then the other thing they're looking at, and again, not confirmed yet, but the Falls Lake is going to be gone. That building that used to host Supercharged may or may not be gone. I don't know, but the possibilities of a Terror Tram returning next year are slim to none. And I know a lot of people are excited about that. But in retrospect, if they don't have a Terror Tram, I do want to see the back lot reopen up, the Metro sets. I want those reopened. And maybe in a bigger footprint if possible, because I know when they did have it, they had 3 or 4 houses back there. They had food trucks back there. I don't think they had a show back there, but they had 3 or 4 houses, and then you walk through the tunnel, and they called it Toxic Tunnel, with scare actors and lights and fog and effects. So it was a lot of fun. So if they're not going to have the Terror Tram back, I would like the Metro sets to come back in its replacement.
Okay. All right. And then moving along is what we're actually going through now with the holiday season. Obviously, they have Grinch showcasing the holidays at Universal. So it's pretty safe to say that Grinchmas will return along with the holiday park takeover and then the New Year's Eve celebration Eve, which Abby and I did attend last year, and will probably go this year again as well.
Yeah, and that was a lot of fun. I attended that as well, and I hung out with Mondo, and oh my God, hanging out with Mondo.
You know what? Now that I remember, Eve was the first time that we met in person, but it was like very briefly. It was like 10 seconds. It was done by the lower law.
Panda Express.
Panda Express. Yeah, like literally I met you right outside the exit door.
Yeah.
That was the first time like we met in like just in person. Like we recorded before. And I remember like my first thought like as seeing you in person was, my God, he's tall. But yeah, because it was just like so chaotic that like where you guys were and then where we were and everything. And it was like still my time where I was still trying to like get a feel for Universal Studios Hollywood because I was still new to it. I only
Yeah.
been like a couple times. But
Sure.
like now that I've been there a lot of times, I know the lay of the park and everything, and to check out more areas for Eve. Yeah, definitely. I can't wait for Eve.
Yeah, Eve was a lot of fun. Like I said, meeting George for the first time in person, that was a lot of fun to meet George, and what a great friendship it's led into so far with George, and hanging out with Mondo though, dude, that guy is wild. Talk about five fires. This guy was like on 10 to 15 fires.
Oh,
This guy
yeah. I hung out with Mondo
was
when they did the opening for Fantastic Four, the character meet greets.
yeah.
At Disneyland. I hung out with him, and then I also hung out with him another time with Danny and also Mondo's sister. So like we got to hang out at the park and everything. Yeah, Mondo's really cool. Oh, and I also got to hang out with him at D23 Day, the day before.
Nice.
D23. Like, so that was really cool. Yeah, I love hanging out with Mondo.
Oh, he's nuts, dude. Like, I mean, this guy, no joke. This guy has, I'm not even joking. I'm not fantasizing this. He had a gimbal in one hand with his phone. He's live streaming. Then he's like dancing, getting in the rhythm of the music. I'm dancing next to him. And then all of a sudden, all these people come up to him, say hi. He gets them on camera. And then all of a sudden, he pulls out his other phone to record something or take a picture. I'm like, do you even have a hand free, or you're just like one hand here and one hand?
Technically, that's the route to go now. Like, it's almost like you need two phones.
Yes.
Like you need like one to record, one to take pictures, one to do like short or a TikTok, and it's like, oh my god,
insane, dude! I'm like, oh my god! And this guy, I kid you not, he had a shoulder bag, okay,
mm-hmm.
and he had all these power packs, and I'm like, what in the heck is going on? But dude, this guy, from the moment I hung out with him, and shout out to Mono, I cannot wait to hang out with them in the future. But this guy went from the moment the event started for Eve to the moment we left the park. This guy was just electrified. I'm like, oh my freaking Lord, where in God's name do you get the energy to do this stuff? It's just like he was constantly on the move, and I love that about him. I'm like, can you tell me your secret of what you buy at Trader Joe's so I can learn it? Because man, you have so much energy. It was crazy. I'm actually surprised that Trader Joe's doesn't sponsor him, or he's not sponsored with Trader Joe's, because he talks about Trader Joe's all the time. I've even gone to Trader Joe's, and it's an amazing store to buy some really awesome, amazing, healthy food. But I'm actually shocked that he's not sponsored by them. But this guy had so much energy. It was so much fun, though. So much fun.
Yeah, it's always a good time. Like, as I said, chilling with him, hanging with him. Like during special, like, I mean, any time is cool, but like especially like during like the special events.
Yeah,
like, that's like the icing on the cake.
Oh, it's fire. It's totally fire. I'm like, man, I wish I had your energy, man.
Yeah.
And he's older than I am. He has a kid. He has a couple kids. I'm like, man, I need to get on your train. Your bonfire and figure out what you're doing, man. I gotta figure it out. Crazy.
That is very true. Now, so kind of sticking on Universal, I wanted to bring up, but moving over to the East Coast, that Universal recently filed permits for 150,000 square foot building.
Okay.
For Epic Universe, and a lot of people were talking. I was trying to find the oh, here we go. A lot of people were thinking that it was an addition to Harry Potter, and because right here is, and this is by Attraction Insight, and the image is from Behind the Thrill. So this is kind of like an aerial shot of the where the green space is. That is essentially 150,000 square feet, which is right next to right here to the left is Ministry of Magic.
Got it.
So people were thinking, well, if it's 150,000 square foot building that they got the permits for, could it be for Harry Potter? A lot of other people were thinking, oh, it's for Dark Universe, maybe for Creature of the Black Lagoon. A lot of people were also saying for Super Nintendo World. But what's your take on it?
So it honestly, okay.
And then this is the actual real life photo, courtesy of Bio Reconstruct, and the space right here next to Potter.
Okay, so that's Potter right there.
Yeah, this building right here. This is Ministry of Magic.
Okay, and then where Stardust is, where is this next to right here? This vacant land right here. So you have Stardust in the corner. What's this vacant land right here?
This vacant. I'm not sure if this would actually be part of it or if this is actually for something else, but I think it's just this space that they're assuming that is the 150,000 square foot building. That's where it would be going if it would be connected to Potter.
Because I could be wrong, because in the top left where it says Bio Reconstruct, it looks like kind of dark, so I'm assuming that's where Dark Universe is.
Yeah, Dark Universe, is more up this way.
Okay. So I would have to ravage a guess and say this is going to be for Potter.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, like, I don't think... See, there are expansion pads for Dark Universe and even for Super Nintendo. I just don't know if it's 150,000 square feet.
Well, think about it. I'm kind of curious, and I don't know if you can. Well, you know what? I'll Google it while we talk about it. How big the Ministry of Magic footprint is? Let me Google it.
This Ministry is pretty big.
Well, let me see. Okay. Let me Google it, or if you want to Google it, George, while I talk about this, but
go for it. I'll search it.
Okay. So if you look at Ministry of Magic where it sits right now, that big building, that almost looks like the size of what this vacant lot is, this expansion pad. So I'm thinking it's more Potter. Now, when you look at this other area right here next to Stardust, I don't know what's next to Stardust. I don't know if that's Nintendo or what that is. But if
Nintendo's still on the other side. It's more, I think, to the right of Dark Universe.
Okay.
So over here with Potter, here's Potter right here. And then you have Stardust that's like part of like Celestial. And then over back here beyond Stardust, that's where Isle of Berk is.
Okay, so this is my guess. And I'm going to throw my 2 cents into this. I think this vacant lot over here is going to be an expansion pad for Harry Potter. That's what I think is going to happen. And then I think down here, this is where the expansion pad is going to be for Islands of Berk. That's where I think this bottom piece down here. I think that's where Island of Berk is going to take place right here, the expansion pad. Now, when it comes to this lake up here on the top of the screen, I think that's going to be Dark Universe. I think Dark Universe is going to take that footprint where that water is.
Yeah, so like I'm trying to think where the water, I think the water, I don't know if this is part of the hotel. Because here's the hotel right here of Helios.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. So, I mean, if they do utilize that area behind that hotel, that big body, that also could possibly be for Nintendo, because I think Nintendo is more north here.
Oh,
and then Dark Universe is here.
Interesting. Well, God, man, I'm wow. Well, it's more than possible they can God, I don't know how they would do that. it would be weird how they angle it, but that body of water, including this little area up here, in front of Ministry of Magic, that blank land right there, that dirt land. I guess that whole footprint could be for a Dark Universe and Nintendo, but I kind of swore looking at concept art, or not concept art, but leaked photos or something from BioReconstruct or somebody, that there was like almost like a land like this 150,000 square foot land right here, but it was between Nintendo and it was between Dark Universe. It was like right in the middle of those two lands. And if that's still the case, I would think Nintendo would probably go in that footprint. And I would feel like Dark Universe would take over this big body of water, or at least a good chunk of it. And then I would say probably Harry Potter would probably take over this dirt plot right here and this dirt plot over here. So the 150,000 square foot plot of land, and this area on the other side, the smaller, probably for more retail, more shops, maybe more meet and greets in that area. So I that's what I'm thinking. That's my point of view on what I think it could be.
It's very possible. I mean, either way, like Epic Universe is basically, even though that they just completed and opened up the park, I mean, it's definitely in need of capacity, for its operation. So I do love how Universal is like dedicating more of that space, to expand Epic Universe.
Oh, by far. No, and by far. And there's a lot of features from what I understand that aren't even operational yet. Like they have restaurants that aren't even open yet. They have a projection show and drone show that they kind of debuted during grand opening night and media night, but haven't been back since. And what I talk about with projections, I mean projections off the Grand Helios facade. That's why they built that hotel the way it is. So that's not 100% operational yet at either. And then one of the things that George has said with the expansion slots, not even this park's been open a year and they're already expanding, which is good to see. And then one of the things I
will say really quick, hold your thought. I will say, on top of expanding Epic Universe, they do need to also work on the studios and IOA. They can't let those fall on the wayside.
No, by far, I 100% agree with you. The only thing I would say to that is I think Universal's plan is to at least add one, if not two more lands in the expansion slots. Maybe not all of them at once, but maybe one or two of them, so they can justify adding this park to the annual passes. And once they're capable and able to do that, I think a lot of attention is going to be pulled away from Epic at the moment. And then it's going to go to the studios. It's going to go to islands that desperately need the help, for sure.
That would make sense.
But I clearly think for the Universal company, I think their biggest priority at this point, besides Epic, at this very moment, to be honest with you, is focusing all their energy and creativity and innovation into Hollywood at this point, knowing that we're only basically at this point 2.5 years away from Southern California being one of the busiest states for 2.5 weeks for international crowds coming into Los Angeles and around Southern California for the games. I think Universal Hollywood at this point, going forward until the games show up and end, I think that should be the main priority at this point.
I can see that, because I feel like Universal Orlando can still hold their own.
Right?
Yeah. So I could definitely see that, like for the next couple years, where their main focus is Universal Hollywood.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
because they're already still working on the ride for that's replacing Rip Ride Rocket, so
they
we're
are
gonna do something new there.
for
Could
sure.
possibly do something with the permit. We'll probably get like small little things.
Oh, sure.
Well, I'm gonna say small. Let me rephrase that. We'll get new projects, but it won't be like new lands or a new, new things like that. Like it'll just be like individual attractions. And then they can work on like the bigger stands for like Universal Hollywood. I mean Orlando after Hollywood.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if you found the square footage yet for Ministry, but the way I'm just looking at what
Yeah,
we're looking
it's not,
at,
for some reason it's not. I'm trying to find it. I keep on like typing it in, but it's giving me like it's saying that the ride is like big friendly. It's like that's not what I'm asking.
oh geez, no, but when you look at the concept art, uh, when you look at it, it almost looks like the same size. It could be 150,000 square feet. Um, let me see. Let me see. Square footage. Okay. Well, that's not what I wanted, but
That's what it's doing with me.
okay.
Did you find it?
So it basically says in the nutshell, it doesn't give an exact number, but it's basically saying the Ministry of Magic is almost the same size of what this 150,000 square foot plot of land we're looking at for possible expansion. So it's almost equivalent, is what Google is saying.
Yeah, it's saying for context, the shared show building for Harry Potter and the Battle at the Ministry and the show that's in the circus tent, they share the same building.
Okay.
It spans about 173,000 square feet.
Okay, so 173. So this is like 23,000 square feet less. But
Yeah.
again, it's a rough estimate. Just because they filed a permit that says 150, yet again, you have to think about it. Just because of this footprint right here, you got this smaller footprint on the other side of this access road they can also utilize. So
Yeah.
there is a possibility that it could be bigger than 150,000 square feet. They're just putting that in motion and saying, for right now, we're looking at only this side of that access road for 150,000 square feet. But since it's so close to Potter, I can't imagine it would be anything else than Potter. It would almost make no
Oh yeah.
sense.
If the permit for the 150,000 square foot building would be for this plot right here,
Yeah.
That it obviously it would have to go to Potter.
Yeah, because I don't think Wicked would go in this area. I'm just being honest with you. It'd be kind of weird to have Wicked next to Harry Potter, even
I
though
think they would put Wicked in Epic. Because here's the thing, like I do love the fact of putting like Oz in the realm of Universal, like
sure.
in any of the parks. I just don't know if it stands up to an Epic land, if that makes sense.
I don't think it does. I think, I think possibly one of the other massive footprints that either Islands or the studio park has, maybe, but an Epic, it's kind of hard to tell. And to be honest with you, I'm very shocked that Universal took a gamble and they built a Fantastic Beasts land, knowing that the movies kind of sucked. So I give a lot of edgy credit to Universal for really sticking their neck out for an IP that didn't really do well in the box office at all. And that's again, that's why we talk about Universal versus Disney. It just seems like Universal likes taking gambles, while Disney's like overprotective, cautious, and doesn't want to do that. Because they've had two movie franchises that couldn't went into Tomorrowland. And again, I'm not trying to bring up that whole conversation, but Tomorrowland could have had two different IPs. It could have had either Tron Ares or it could have had Fantastic Beasts, or I'm sorry, not Fantastic Beasts, Fantastic Four
Yeah.
into that footprint. And
they only rely on the box office numbers, and they have to stop doing that.
Yeah, and this is a prime example. Universal doesn't do that because they put an IP that sucked at the box office, but yet Battle of Ministry people say it's absolutely fantastic. Now, I was next to a couple people at Universal the other day that have been to Epic, and they're like, "Yeah, the pre-show, like the line cue, the whole facade of the Ministry is just breathtaking. The ride itself, eh, so there are some people that don't like it to a point, but personally, from me, from what I've seen from pictures, from video, from what I heard from George time and time again, I'm super excited to ride it.
I think you're really gonna like it. I really do. I think, as I said, for me, it's my favorite Harry Potter ride. Hagrid's is a close second.
Oh, I can't wait to ride Hagrid's.
Hagrid's motorbike. And then actually my third is Escape from Gringotts.
Yeah. Yeah, no, 100%. So I don't know. What type of attraction they could build there, I'm not 100% sure. I don't know what in God's green earth they can possibly build in this footprint. The only thing I can think of, and I know this sounds incredibly weird, and I'm just going to throw it out there. What if they built another attraction just like the Battle of Ministry, but instead of the Ministry of Magic from the original Harry Potter series, because we see snippets of it from the Fantastic Beast version, what if we had an attraction based off the Fantastic Beast?
Not far-fetched at all, because that's what I was thinking. Because you have to think, you only have one way in with the Floo powder.
Yeah.
That from the Fantastic Beasts era to Harry's time frame.
Yeah.
If you're going to have a building that's going to be right next to the Ministry of Magic, but it's before you enter the Floo powder, through the fireplace, like the Floo powder fireplaces, and you're set in Paris during the time of Fantastic Beasts, that ride, and you have to think that they have Paris that is supposedly, you're entering in the Fantastic Beasts, but they have really nothing to show for it. And I think, as you mentioned, where Universal takes risks, I think this ride, if it is for Harry Potter, it's going to be Fantastic Beasts in that time era.
Oh, by far. Now, the only other attraction, see, this almost wouldn't make sense because the whole land's based off the Fantastic Beasts. That's why I said the Fantastic Beasts Ministry of Magic attraction would make sense. But another attraction, just Harry Potter related in general, I don't know. It's kind of hard. But what if they did like a indoor dark ride, like they have with Jurassic World Adventure in Beijing, but have it where it's that same type of ride concept, but you're dealing with the fantastical beasts and you're interacting with them and you're trying to help Newt Commander, stop Grindelwald. You know what I mean?
AKA my ex-mother-in-law. But it's but yeah, I mean, in all seriousness, I think honestly that's a great idea. I think one way or the other, no matter what the ride system is or the ride vehicles, I think the overall storyline is definitely going to be Fantastic Beasts.
It has to, and I'm actually kind of shocked, quite frankly, that the Battle of Ministry even exists connected to the Fantastic Beasts.
I actually agree. I agree with that. I love that ride. As I said, it's my favorite Harry Potter ride. The ride itself is very epic.
Yeah.
But I would not have put, and I do love how they have like the Floo powder, but really the Floo powder was supposed to only transport you into different locations.
Yeah.
The way that it transports you through different time zones, that to me is where you would need like the time turner. Like that should have nothing to do with the flue powder. So that kind of like throws it off for me a little bit. I would have actually just did the whole land Fantastic Beasts, and I would have put Ministry of Magic like over in like where you could expand out like Diagon Alley, where you then use the flue powder to go from Diagon Alley into the Ministry of Magic, or Hogsmeade into Diagon Alley or into Ministry of Magic.
See, I would have loved that, quite frankly. That would have been absolutely incredible. And again, a massive footprint that you have in, I think it's Iowa. I could be wrong. I think it is Iowa. Is you got two, at least one attraction that's been dead for quite some time, which is the Fear Factor life stage. They could get rid of that. I think it's right next to Diagon Alley or adjacent to it.
Yeah,
You couldn't put it there. You couldn't replace Men in Black, which
or actually, if you wanted to have it extended from Wizarding World,
yeah,
you know, people are, you know, talking about they're getting rid of Lost Continent. You know, Lost Continent is, you know, not that far, you know, from, you know, that location. So they could have easily put Battle of Ministry there, and then it could have connected with the Fireplace Flue Powder, where you transport from Hogsmeade to the battle to the Ministry of Magic, because it all falls into the same timeline.
Yeah. See, my only gripe with this is, and I know Hollywood was not ready, and still kind of is not ready to a point. I kind of feel like if Hollywood gets a Harry Potter expansion, it's like, what is there left to storytell into another land, into another attraction?
The only way that they would is by the time that they do it, depending on how well the series goes.
Yeah, but see, now it's kind of difficult in a way, because now it's like okay, you have the original movie series,
and then you're going to go into the series and you're going to have two different kind of Harry Potters.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. So I'm not saying it wouldn't work. I'm just saying it wouldn't have been kind of weird. So personally, for me, this building right here where Battle of Ministry is, I'd rather have it been a Battle of Ministry, but with the Fantastic Beast theming Ministry, and leave the London original Harry Potter Ministry for Hollywood, for the Falls Lake area. I think if we wouldn't gone that out here in Hollywood, I think that would have been better than having Diagon Alley. You imagine
you could have even done it. You could have even done it in Epic, rather than have it, you know, Paris. They could have had it London.
That's
like,
what I mean.
Like Muggle London, and then you go into you use the flue powder and you travel to the Battle of Ministry.
So I'm kind of wondering if they do. If we do get a Harry Potter expansion, let's say we do in Hollywood, and let's say it goes into the Falls Lake area,
I think it's going to be Hagrid's.
I think it's going to be Hagrid's, the coaster part of it.
Yeah,
I think if like what you're saying is, if we walk into a land like this where it's Fantastic Beasts, but our version is Harry Potter, and let's say it's, you know, downtown London with Big Ben and all this other stuff, and then you walk into, and again, I know it's almost verbatim, but you walk into an area and it's the Flue Powder Network. You walk in and it's the Ministry of Magic, but instead of it being the exact ride like this, it's a different ride, kind of like that Jurassic World Adventure I'm talking about, where it's an indoor dark ride where you have screen, but you also have physical sets alongside animatronics, like the three-headed dog coming after you, or you got you got one of the rooms that you go, or one of the scenes you coming around, you have all these flying keys coming after you, or you're at that one scene. I think it was Order of the Phoenix, where Harry Potter's at the Quidditch match, and he's playing, and all of a sudden he goes into the sky, and he sees that reflection of Sirius Black, the dog, and then all of a sudden these Dementors come out of nowhere and attack you, and you have to. I think that would be so freaking cool. So if we had a land, if people don't want Diagon Alley, which I understand, because obviously Orlando's had it for 15 plus years.
I think Escape of Gringotts is a great ride. As I said, it's my number 3. But I think, I feel like the fact that it's been over a decade, that I feel like that the technology isn't like there anymore. But that's where I feel like with Hagrid's, it's a coaster, and it's a very popular coaster, and it's a very different kind of coaster. And I feel like that kind of ride would work at Universal Studios Hollywood, because they need more rides like that.
Yeah. Oh, by far. And that's what I mean with the extended queue of Forbidden Journey that's doing absolutely nothing. And then literally right next to that, you have the entrance to the studio tour, which has been rumored for quite some time now to be relocated. They could build Hagrid's in that footprint right next to Forbidden Journey, in that empty queue space, outdoor queue space they never use, and it just going to waste. And then the studio tour area, they can use that as the Hogwarts Express, and the Hogwarts Express can drive down. It could be like a 2-3 minute ride, and it takes you down to the Falls Lake area. And, you walk into, London, basically, with Big Ben and all this stuff. And you can kind of incorporate you can kind of incorporate the Diagon Alley aspect with the magic shops, with the pubs and all that stuff. And then you walk into the Floo Power Network, and you walk into the Ministry of Magic, and it's like an indoor dark ride, like Jurassic World Adventure. And then you could still have the Gringotts Bank, and make that not even a ride. You can make that an experience where you can go in, you can interact with the goblin bankers, you can open a wizard account, and you could do some fun stuff in there. And who knows, you can even turn that into a restaurant and make it even a restaurant experience. That'd be freaking cool, like they did with Toadstool Cafe. You imagine walking into the Gringotts Bank, and inside they have the beautiful chandeliers like they have at the one in Orlando, but it's a whole restaurant. You imagine that?
You know what kind of restaurant I would love? I would love to actually see the Great Hall or the Grand Hall actually in Hogwarts.
Oh my
where
God.
Like you have like the night sky above you. They could have like floating candles. And you have big, long banquet tables with the feasts and everything. That's the type of restaurant I would love to see with Hogwarts.
Oh, God, yeah. I would love to see that. If they incorporated that into a land like this, like Fantastic Beasts, but in the Hollywood, and it based off the original Harry Potter franchise, I'd be so down. I would be so down. Because I'll tell you what, when Toadstool first opened, every time I went to Universal, Toadstool was my spot. And then it kind of got old after a while. But for the very beginning, I was there every single time, making a reservation, going in there, having the Bowser's Challenge meatball, which is still pretty good, and having the little short rib prime rib that they had, some of the desserts they had, and just that one drink they had, which is disappointing. But dude, wow, a Great Hall restaurant, dude, fire idea. That'd be amazing.
That would be it for me, because anytime I think of something that's related to Harry Potter that would be like on a grand scale for a restaurant, it would be like the Great Hall.
Oh yeah, that'd be dope. That would be so awesome. Oh my gosh, wow. Now with Nintendo, I want to ask you real quick. With Nintendo expanding, besides Zelda, what else would you use as a Nintendo property that kind of fits the Mario aspect? Like you have characters like Wario, you have um, Boo, like King Boo, you have God. What else is there? I'm drawing a blank. There's so many that I can't even think of. You have Star Fox, you have uh, a Metroid, you have all sorts of different ones.
See, now let me ask you this, and this may be the unpopular opinion.
Oh,
We
sure.
we all know those characters because we grew up with those and everything.
Yeah,
But I know with Universal, like we just got done saying it, they take risks all the time. They don't care.
sure.
But do you think you could see like a dedicated area to Fox and Samus and like can you like see a whole entire area dedicated to them? Because honestly, I don't really think I could, to be honest, the more that I think about it. And I feel like that's why we basically, even though they call it Super Nintendo World, I think that's why we're just getting the Mario, the Donkey Kong, and I could see Zelda because I think Zelda is more prominent.
Yeah,
But because there's still video games out there of him, there's a live action movie that's going to be coming out.
sure.
They already kind of showcase him. So honestly, if they don't utilize Zelda for that space, because I'm still trying to think, is Zelda going to be its own portal, its own land, or is it going to be adjacent to Super Nintendo World like they did with Donkey Kong Country? So we're still like up in the air with that. But to answer your question, I would love to see like a Luigi's Manor.
That would be dope. Now, again, my only thing is because we are supposed to get, I think it's still on the table at some point. We are supposed to get an expansion to Nintendo out here in Hollywood. And the problem I have with either Zelda or Luigi's Mansion going into Epic or any part of Universal Orlando in general, it takes away from Hollywood. I think Hollywood deserves the second expansion, whether it's Donkey Kong, whether it's Zelda, or whether it's Luigi's Mansion. I think something needs to be unique to Hollywood, or at least each one of these parks, so it's not a carbon copy. And I feel like, and I've said it to you many times before, I don't want what Disney did with Galaxy's Edge for Universal to do with Super Nintendo World. Now, I've said it time and time again, if we do get a Donkey Kong Land in Hollywood, they've already mapped it out. Ours would be the biggest version, but ours can be completely unique to Hollywood. So instead of a coaster, either we can have the coaster and have a bigger footprint for the coaster, or it could be an indoor dark ride like Jurassic World Adventure, Beijing. It could be like that. Or we could just have the same coaster, but then we can have exclusive mini games. We can have exclusive meet and greet characters that's only in Hollywood. And we can even have a Toadstool type theme restaurant themed to Donkey Kong. I think that would 100% make us unique and a second attraction in our version, since it would be the biggest out of the three, taking up soundstage 7 through 12, because 12 would sadly have to go away for this. I think personally, I would like to see that. If they did it that way, knowing that a Donkey Kong movie is coming out, he's getting his own movie, and if it does well, I could see that version coming to Hollywood and us being the bigger, superior version with unique elements in our land that no other land, including Osaka, Japan, and Orlando, has. That way it draws people to come to Hollywood and experience it.
I can definitely see Donkey Kong Country like added into Super Nintendo out here because I mean it's a pan box out here. It needs a lot more breathing room.
Yeah.
And even though I'm not too keen on the Minecart Madness, I like it. I don't love it, but I could still see it out here. It would be a great addition to Hollywood. And the land itself, I love the music that they kind of play like these bongo drum kind of things, and they just have and they do have like the little mini game things where you have like interaction, things also too. And also on top of what they already built for Super Nintendo, I know it's probably they can't do it in the same format that they do in Universal Orlando, but I would love to see the Yoshi ride come as well. Now, again, I know that they can't probably do it the way that they did in Orlando because all the structures are already built, but you could still do some sort of rendition of the Yoshi ride, and it would be fun for the kids,
I think so. I to be honest with you, I personally think so. I think for now,
they could have done Yoshi. I don't know why they didn't when they were building it with the structure. I don't know why that they just didn't add it.
yeah, it's kind of distasteful in my opinion that we open with one land. We're kind of like, in a way, we're kind of like the Avatar experience, with only having one attraction, which is kind of stupid. Hopefully that's not the case when Avatar comes, but I can see eventually, and again, this is a shot in the dark, and I'm saying it's going to take some brilliant mind power if they decide to do it. But I can see in the future Studio Cafe closing, okay, Panda Express are finally going away, and if they rip out those two areas and they expand Nintendo out in that footprint, they could build Yoshi's the Yoshi attraction in that footprint.
Mhm.
I could see it. I think they would have possibly enough room to build it. I know some people said, "Oh yeah, build it in the footprint of Transformers." I'm like, that doesn't make sense to me because obviously Transformers eventually will go away, but I don't think that big of a footprint, including the soundstage behind it, which will probably also go away. I don't think a Yoshi attraction deserves that much land.
Yeah, no.
I think if they got, like I said, if they got rid of the Studio Cafe and eventually Panda Express, they just forced them out of that area. I think personally, they would have enough room or close to enough room to build a Yoshi attraction, an Omni Mover attraction. Because think about it, they did it with Secret Life of Pets. They turned a theater that they used to host, media events, for the Grammys and stuff, and like movie premieres in the footprint of where where the attraction sits today. So if they could do that with an Omni Mover like that, they could easily do it with the Omni Mover of Yoshi in that footprint.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
see it. So
Yeah, I could say honestly, and really they could really flesh out Super Nintendo World. You already have Mario Kart. You could do Yoshi, add Donkey Kong, and then add Luigi's Manor. Boom. There you go. There's your Super Nintendo.
Yeah, we would be set. There would be no other expansion that I would want after that.
That's probably if Transformers was to go, that's the building that I would utilize. I would use for Luigi's Manor.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And then I would probably use the other sound stages next to Mummy. I would probably use those sound stages, that both the front and the back area. I would probably use that for Dark Universe. I think that would be plenty of room for Dark Universe. But again, the sky's the limit. We have to see what they're going to do in Hollywood. Obviously, they can't expand Nintendo and get it done in time for the Olympics, even though I would love to believe that. Even if they started next week, it would be very hard to do so because, ripping down these sound stages, it doesn't just take a couple weeks. It takes like 2 or 3 months per stage because they have to demo, then they have to file permits, then they have to have extra crew for, not just demo, but also fire personnel just in case a fire breaks out, because some of these sound stages are retrofitted with electrical, and HVAC and all sorts of other nonsense. And obviously, they have to pick and choose their battles because they're dealing with, guests in the park. Then they're dealing with the movie studios. If they are filming on the lot, they can't be ripping down sound stages, even though it's pretty far away. It still echoes. So it would take quite a while.
Yeah, I completely agree. Well, conductor, I want to thank you for joining me today with what I like to call the Hollow Hollow edition, because that's basically, again, what Hollow Hollow means in Tagalog. It's mixing and mashing everything up. And we talked a lot today on a variety of different things regarding Disney and Universal and the parks and everything. And it's always great having you on Hollow Gelato. I have a great time having these discussions with you because I think out of everybody that I talk to, you're the only one that I could have a 3-hour conversation with, and it literally just feels like a half hour because we just like dive into so much, and it literally is like we're hitting almost the 3-hour mark of our conversation, which is wild. But I want to thank you for joining today on Hollow Gelato, and if you want to let everyone again know where they can find you on social media.
Absolutely. And I want to give a big shout out to you. Another milestone hit. You did just hit the other day 20,000 subscribers. So congratulations to George from Hollow Gelato for completing that accomplishment. Can't wait to see future content. But again, like George says, I'm Theme Park Conductor. You can find me on YouTube and Blue Sky at Theme Park Conductor. You can find me on Instagram at theme_park_conductor. You can find me on X at Theme Conductor. You can also find me on TikTok at Theme Park Conductor 1. And you can find me every Sunday at 5 or 7 p.m. for Conductor Sunday live stream, where we break everything down from Universal to Disney to the Christmas season, and for future events coming up at the park, like Festival of Holidays this coming Friday, where Hollow Gelato and myself, Theme Park Conductor, will be on location battling the rain, but also trying out these interesting foods from 6 different booths, gone from 12 to now 6. So that's going to be interesting.
Happened to that? I thought it was called the 12 Days of Christmas. So now we're down to 6.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I think personally for me, parents buying, quite frankly, parents buying gifts for their kids. I think it really happens during Black Friday and then the whole month of December, all the way leading up to the 25th. They just kind of play stupid and they're like, yeah, we don't have gifts for you. What are you talking about? You got a B- on your report card. You want an Xbox? What?
Yeah, I think parents now will find any excuse to say, "Oh yeah, no gifts for little Johnny."
Well, exactly. Or they'll come up with, little Johnny asks, "Mom, Dad, where are you going the day after Thanksgiving? Don't you want to just kind of relax?" No, me and your dad have a date night. Yeah, date night lasts all day. Yeah, gift buying for Christmas for little Johnny. That's what it is. It's not date night.
Yeah.
So, but no, we talk everything from Universal, Disney, rumors, speculations, like we did tonight on Hollow Gelato, talking everything from Disney to Universal to the East Coast stuff. Can't wait to talk about more of it. And again, we start our countdown. We are November the 12th. We are how many months away? 4.25 months away from experiencing Orlando. George has been there a handful of times. It will be my first time, so I'm pretty excited.
Like as of today, we are less than 4 months away from the trip.
Less than 4 months. Unbelievable. Because the next adventure I want to do with you, George, obviously, eventually, is going to be going back to Walt Disney World to experience Tropical Americas, the new Cars Land, the new things they're doing in Hollywood Studios and all that. But I definitely want to go on a Disney cruise to experience that. And I think the Destiny, the way they just, presented the Disney Destiny cruise ship, that will probably be the cruise ship I will want to experience by far.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. I definitely, yeah, I still have to get myself on the Treasure as well. So the
yeah,
Disney Treasure and the Disney Destiny, definitely have to check them out. And then I could definitely see us, because Tropical America is supposedly is going to open in 2027, and so is supposedly the Avengers Campus expansion. So I could see us pulling a Joe Rody where we go cover Avengers Campus, and then we just hop on a plane down to Florida for Tropical Americas.
unbelievable. I believe me, I can't wait, and I bet you Walt Disney World is going to get my hooks into me, and eventually I'm going to be with George buying my annual pass out there for Walt Disney World.
I think, and I can't wait to hear you and Tommy Toon, which by the way, shout out to Tommy. I'm going to be very curious to get both of your process on it after the trip is over, after you experience everything and you see how the Florida parks operate, especially since you've never been there before. I'm going to be very curious to see. We thought we went 3 hours tonight. I could imagine the review show after the Florida. We might have to do like a live marathon for that one.
Oh, it's going to be nuts. I'm going to tell you what. I am going to be so down for that. I don't know about Tommy, because Tommy's trying to adapt to these long live videos. I'm down. I can go another 2 hours on this video. I know we're not, but I don't mind talking about it because it's going to be awesome. And then I can only imagine we're going to probably do also live shows from the hotel.
Yes.
Talking about day 1, day 2, day 3, and so on, so on, so on, so on. So there's going to be a lot of content, not just with Theme Park Conductor, but also Hollow Gelato, Tommy Toon World, and hopefully maybe we'll do a live show with Jared on location. That would be awesome.
That would be cool.
That would be awesome. So
absolutely. And so everyone, thank you for joining us for this almost 3-hour show. Please comment down below on everything that we talked about today. Any questions, comments, concerns, opinions. We love to hear from you. All we ask is just please keep it respectful and civil in the comments. And as Theme Park Conductor had said, with all his socials and intros and everything, I'm George, the Disney Italiano. And as I always say in Disney Italiano fashion, stay safe, stay healthy, stay Disney. Italiano out.